sort of a mini blurb.
Alright,
One of I learned
the recording started.
Overview. I haven't got the information on Gods up yet, although I could answer any questions you might have right now in terms of the concept of what the idea is and how it differs from what typically the generic D&D God format thing. I sort of threw that out and replaced it with something that fit the system that's already there, rather than trying to crowbar things that don't really fit into the system. So I sort of did it backwards. But
yeah, whatever works.
yeah. I mean, it's arguably abstract, but I think it's more intuitive than the sort of crowbar system that they tend to use.
Yeah, well, and I mean, if we're dealing with imaginary deities, it really,
Yes.
what really matters is that it fits the game.
Yeah.
So, it's...
Opposed to real
They
deities?
smite us if they're offended.
They might, yes.
It's like
Yep, wrong. Boom!
Yeah.
like you said, imaginary deities, if there's any other kind.
It depends on your religion.
Yeah. Orcs. So, are orcs spelled with a K in your world?
Orcs what, sorry?
Are orcs spelled with a K in your world?
They don't spell particularly well, so some of them probably spell it with a K and some of them probably spell it with a C. Yeah. I mean, historically, standardized spelling is a very recent addition to language.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, there are records of not that long ago where people's last names are spelled differently on their birth certificate, on their marriage certificate, and on their death certificate.
Evolution.
Yeah. Because they just spelled things phonetically.
My last name is spelled differently on my birth certificate and on my marriage certificate. On my birth certificate, it starts with an A.
Wait, what?
I linked you a copy of my character sheet.
Oh.
See if you could prove it or disapprove of it or whatever.
Disprove of it?
The one thing is just the character sheet, and the other one has all the individual descriptions of all the abilities spelled out in full.
I should probably
In case
do
there
the
was something
same.
you didn't recognize.
Okay.
And
Well,
yes, he only has one
largely-
name.
I'm out of simple necessity, not to mention ease of integration. I'm sort of giving everybody lots of leeway and honor system isms floating around. I'm not going to be a character sheet police inspector going, oh look, you have one too many character points.
And if you're wondering on the way my wisdom's listed, it's whether or not I'm using my racial.
Alrighty.
Because it grants a +2 to wisdom, among other things.
Because that's sort of why I wanted to come to character information up front. I'd rather let the players, well, you guys, obviously, have a bit more latitude for what characters you want to play and what's going to be fun for you guys. And then I can just, give you guys things that will be suitable based on your characters, classes, and abilities. Because I found that worked easier last time rather than trying to make a round peg fit in a square hole. I'll just carve a hole in the board that is the approximate size and shape that the party takes.
There you go.
Yeah. No, you have to play a human.
Wow.
And I have mentioned that some people, because it's come up, if you want to play something really unusual and weird and atypical, by all means, feel free to do that, and be aware that there may be consequences for these decisions at some point in the future. If you're a human fighter, in like medium armor with a generic looking weapon and you walk into town, probably not going to look at you twice. If you're a creature no one's ever seen before and you have abilities no one's ever seen before, people will notice. You're gonna have to deal with that.
Side
So-
note to a certain person I was talking to last night, that's why I didn't want to do the ages thing we were talking about. I figured the tentacles and the stinger might look kind of odd.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm choosing.
Claws are at
between
least
two.
less noticeable.
I'm choosing between two unusual races. My decision is based on whether or not you allow the Mystic Past Life option for the Samsarin. If I can do that, I'll play that one. If not, then I would
Then,
rather go with the
yeah.
SR.
I remember I was actually, because I know what the word means, I saw that one on the other website, and I was looking at some signs. Yeah. So yeah, do that one. That's what Joey.
That one?
That's more
Okay.
fun.
Oh,
Yeah, that gives me a lot more spells. Well, a lot more spells to choose from.
Yeah.
I still am limited to the same number of casting every day, and I'll start out. Do we have another person playing a priest in the party?
Yeah, Mason, but he's not here right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
I
a
don't
war
know
priest,
what
so I'm
happened to Lee either. So.
Oh, War
Yeah.
Priest, awesome.
yeah, so I'm halfway in between.
okay.
But so I don't think I can turn undead, but I can cast Cure Light Wounds. So that's probably what I'll. As we're starting out, I'll focus on healing magic just because
Do they-
I need it.
Do they still divide it between turn/rebuke/control, or did they? I haven't finished reading over all the Pathfinder rule changes yet.
When it comes to the use of channeling, they've made it now just if you channel negative, you channel out a radius of negative energy, and if you channel you channel good, you channel out a radius of healing energy. You can sometimes speak in order to change it and modify it into some of the older traits, but generally speaking, now channeling is either extra healing or extra damage, or healing for undead, depending on how you roll. Yeah.
May have to up the options a bit to include order and chaos.
It's a
They
binary.
rarely do that.
It's a binary thing. Either you're following an evil god, therefore you channel negative, or you follow a good
Yeah.
god, and therefore you channel, you channel positive.
Well, there
or
used to be a
or you're
thing
neutral
for-
and you just don't
yeah.
care. You just pick
Yeah,
one
you-
that you
whatever
pick
you
your
want.
character and you channel that.
Yeah, they don't have much in the way of characters who are designed to smite chaos or smite law or anything. Like, you can get weapons that give you extra damage towards those kind of people, but there's not a class that revolves around it. Which I wish someone would make a class that actually doesn't revolve around law and chaos.
Well, there is in Warhammer. There are a few in Warhammer. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I'm a cleric, so eventually I'll be able to channel positive energy.
You went cleric?
No, did I say cleric? I meant paladin.
Oh.
That's right. I knew that.
Okay, so I am not the only priest.
No.
Good.
And all you have to do is choose two mutually unpleasant with each other deities. Just to make it more easy.
I follow the Lord of Light.
Oh, jeez.
So you heard him, Hannah. Darkness domain. Do it.
Screw this light wielding ninny. Yeah, do it. Gotta be the god of community or some shit. Come on.
Yeah, my character's
My
sim.
character's chaotic good.
Oh, see, well, my character's lawful good, so that's where we can butt
Could
heads.
have some issues there.
Yeah.
No, you think that's the issue. The issue had been. Eddie, races. Did you ever look at the two I sent?
I think I tried to, and I couldn't find the link because I'm a spaz that way sometimes.
Well, send them back.
I would say just go with whichever one you like better, and unless it's got some kind of world-breaking special ability, you want me to double check first.
The Fists of God
I
Slaying.
don't see it. I can't unless it's got some kind of totally out of left field. No one's ever had this ability before. Or they have you can turn into a ancient dragon at will. That would be a problem, but
That only happens when I first get up in the morning. After my coffee, I'm just fine.
there you go.
So So, Edward, why did you delete my post on the orc thing?
I was deleting it because I was going to actually just write the information so you can see it, and then and then shenanigans in my life happened. And
understandable.
Yeah, it's been a weird couple weeks, I gotta say.
Yeah, I don't remember what it says exactly, but I think I was just wondering why you have a picture of trees and.
Well, yeah, that's just a sort of a concept art for what that region typically looks like.
Oh yeah.
For each area, to give you like a flavor idea.
Well, why is it labeled orcs? Is that where the orcs live?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
The orcs have their own sort of little province or area, or I wouldn't call it a country because it's not under like a single ruler, but they have their own little, like the swamps in the north. Yeah. Because I need to get. I'm working on I'm working on a map for me, and then a map that I can probably take a picture of and post that you guys can use. So I'm working on multiple maps. I bought art books for doing maps. I have a map of the town you're in that's almost ready to take a picture of and upload. And I mercilessly did it in runes. Because maps are like the good maps are
AFK a sec, guys. Just got a phone call.
I just realized this bar has a stage area.
Yes, it does.
I'm gonna need to buy this bar. I have plans.
This is the Lost and Found Inn. Which I have a better map of right here. I didn't map the upper floors because that's just, sleeping chambers. So, but I have a map of the main floor. Where did I put the... somewhere... So there are, I don't know if I mentioned it to anybody, there are, well, how I explain how the gods work in the game, I explain generally from the point of view of people in the game, because ultimately that's how the characters are going to understand it anyway. And there are multiple philosophical outlooks on how the gods work by different races and different classes, particularly in the game. Like druids have a radically different notion about gods than everybody else does. So there are outer gods, which, as they become more specific... Hold on, the phone is ringing. Sorry, give me 1 sec. Hello? Hello? And they hung up. Alrighty. Sorry. As the concept becomes more specific, the gods become more abstract. So the 4 compass points are the most abstract and potentially the most powerful from a certain point of view of the 4 gods. Then the 4 points sort of halfway between those 4 points are less abstract in terms of humans being able, or sentient beings being able to conceive of the nature of this creature. But those 8 collectively are the outer gods. The different races have different names for them. They are venerated, acknowledged more so than generally directly worshipped, but some people do. And then there are inner gods, which some philosophize are a limited conception of the outer gods, or some have conceived them as having been the children of outer gods, or it's kind of blurry, where the druids sort of see the combination of all of them as being the actual divine entity, is like everything together, where everyone else is trying to sort of go the opposite way with it. This is sort of how. Which in the in the town you're in Durand, there is there is west of the market square. There are these tents that are set up around a very big oak tree. And then to the north, east, south, and west are these larger... well, they're not... You don't go them to the ground. They're, I guess, like canopies. So they're large triangular canopies in the four, like north, south, east, west, which kind of sort of line up and make a square tilted 45 degrees as far as north, south, east, west goes. So I guess or a diamond, if that makes more sense. And then inside those four large canopies are the four smaller canopies, representing then collectively which is the picture in the Outer Gods thing, is a mock-up. It's kind of sort of what the canopies would look like if viewed from above. And I think I even gave them the right colors.
Quick question.
Yeah.
God of Light, is that an outer god or an inner god?
Arguably it could be either. Well, you were looking at Lawful Good, right?
Yeah.
Which would be the blue inner triangle in the Outer Gods image on the campaign forums. So the white is good, the black is evil, gold is order, purple is chaos.
Is there a link to this form? Because I actually don't see...
Oh, it's in the
It's on the second
forums.
page.
It's
sorry,
titled
Outer-
The Outer Gods. And then the gizmo in the middle, that looks like a star in a circle. That's what I use to indicate where the oak tree would go.
Alright.
Not that it looks particularly oakish. That's what
Oakish. That's the language oak trees speak. Oakish.
So sort of the more elements you combine into a deity, the less, I suppose, abstract they become, but the more finite they become.
Like,
Yeah, I tried to, rather than trying to, randomly figure out what alignment, what gods should be, I sort of just turned the alignments into gods.
Oh.
Essentially, which makes it run a bit smooth. You don't have to worry about, I have to make, the god of the harvest. Well, what alignment should they be? Well, that's harvest. It's not really order, but it's not really
Harvest
chaos.
is pretty
so I
order.
guess it's neutral. Well, it could be order, but I mean, there's the harvest is also dependent on a number of variable factors. So I mean, so I was right. So you have to do this with and then you have to figure out at the end. You kind of need an even distribution between all the elements. So you end up with, having a chaotic evil god of the wind because you needed a chaotic evil god, and all of the other pantheons were kind of taken. It's
Alright.
let's just make it simpler. Alignments are now divine energies that emanate from points, and go. And then it's sort of loosely inspired by sort of the Hindu notion that if you don't find a god you like, make a new one.
There you go.
But if you're ultimately, you're most probably going to end up being in one of those 8 colors.
So if I'm lawful good, does it mean I'm in the green?
You'd be blue. The colors sort of work for the alignment to a certain degree anyway.
Okay.
So blue is which works, right? Because paladins are sort of ideally suited as, to a certain degree, law enforcement officials, ideally speaking, because they are beholden to the law and aspire to the good. So that's ideally, that's the perfect combination for somebody who's
Yeah, to be fair, like, paladins care more about good than they do about law.
Well, it probably depends on the paladin, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I think that's, like... It seems like they're far more, designed to fight evil than they are to fight chaos.
Yeah.
And, like, if you commit an evil act, you automatically lose your paladin abilities, but if you commit a chaotic act,
Well,
you'll lose your abilities
what,
until you're no longer lawful good.
What is a chaotic act is much harder to debate. Well, actually, what an evil act is kind of hard to philosophize about.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, I think that's one of the downfalls of having a alignment system. Is just you have these arguments about what is good, what is evil, what's chaos, what's law.
Yeah. Well, if you get down to it, chaos includes law, but law excludes chaos. So then we really get into mucky territory at that point.
I've had different DMs define that differently in the past too, where they would treat lawful good as more about the preservation of order than about upholding the law, and they differentiate between law and authority and order, and as far as law goes. So if you end up in a lawful evil authorities territory and you see evil taking place in the name of the law as a paladin, the paladin is expected to become offended at of the illusion of order in order to facilitate evil acts. So in other words, a paladin wouldn't lose his paladin powers for disobeying Nazi law, but would for disobeying laws like don't commit murder and don't steal and stuff like that.
That'd be an awesome campaign, fighting medieval fantasy Nazis.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
I've actually played something kind of along those lines in the past, where I had a party that was, I was in a party that was sort of slated to stop a genocide. So it was quite an interesting campaign.
Yeah, gotta stop them from taking out the elven rat.
Yep. The Dwarven Menace. Stop the Dwarven Menace.
The bearded peril.
Just keep the beardy sack with them, you'll be fine.
They're gonna get ladders and rape our women.
You know, dwarven women do have beards, just not on their faces.
There you go.
That one again.
Thank you, I'll be here all night.
Yeah, I was so disappointed in the Hobbit movie that they got the dwarves horribly wrong.
I still haven't seen any of the Hobbit movies.
I avoided them because everything I saw, I was like, no, just no. And I had friends who went and saw it, and I said, did they have the struck by lightning line in there? And they said no. I said that I'm glad I didn't go, because I would have been outraged if they didn't have struck by lightning. Because that is the best line in the book.
Yeah, I didn't go see the Hobbit movies because when they were out in theaters, I didn't have the money to see them. So, yeah, I was waiting for them to come on like Netflix or something. Man, it's been like at least a year, and they're still not on like any Netflix or Hulu or anything. I think I might just break down and like, or rent it on like Comcast or something.
And they made Thorin young. It's like, no, Thorin's really old. That's kind of the thing. That's why he's doing this, because he's soon going to be too old to do anything about it. So he's sort of doing it now.
Getting too old for this shit.
Yeah, because he was the second oldest dwarf in the party. And in the book, it goes into great detail, talking about he has this like really long white beard that he tucks into his belt because it gets in the way all the time. And they made him like young and dashing in the movie. I'm like, no. He's a grouchy old man.
That was to get chicks to drag their boyfriends to the movie to watch the cute guy.
Yeah. None of the dwarves really looked like dwarves as far as I could tell. No.
annoying how like some people call Allison dwarven. I was like, no, she's not short enough. She has to be like 4 foot tall
She's
and
totally the wrong build. Too.
Yeah, like she had to be like 4 foot tall and 4 foot wide. That's dwarven right there.
Yeah. Danny DeVito. It's the right.
Yeah, that guy's more dwarven than Allison.
No. You have to get his race right. He's a penguin.
Is he a purple penguin?
No, just a penguin. That's the the original animal kin. Is the penguin.
What I like about Dan DeVito and his now ex-wife is that despite being like in Hollywood, they look like everybody's like they look like somebody's like mundane mom and dad, you know?
Well, I heard they got back together.
Oh, they got back together?
That's what I heard.
I don't really keep
not from them personally or anything, but I mean that's what's.
Well, I think they sent you an email when they talk about their relationship.
Dear Ed, just keeping you informed. Although I did see a hilarious picture of them with one of their kids, who's like normal size, which is
Really?
Yeah, at least relative to them, he looks normal size.
Well, they have a daughter who I think she's either the same height or shorter than them.
Oh,
I'll have to look it up.
They're both 5'3".
Yeah, actually, I think she's like 5'0".
Huh.
She's a woman. She can get away with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so
Dark, my goodness.
what'd you say?
I said that totally. That totally
Yes.
in dark sport, and he did not return the serve. It's like, what's going on?
Let's see.
Because I won't. Simple as that. Too easy.
So, like, what city are we in?
Durand, which is, I think came up about. Maybe I can show you the map. Hold on, I can figure out. Well, if you, there's the island, which is Abradzin, is approximately, or if you visualize it as being Australia-like, which it vaguely sort of is. Durand is roughly the island's Alice Springs, if that helps at all. I think I might have put a
Yeah, you did put a link about yeah.
Yeah, until I get the actual decent enough version of the map that I can, without feeling horribly embarrassed about it, take a picture of and link for you guys. But yeah, it's sort of, and then to the, well, I did that on the one of the post, but yeah, but in the north, sort of centrally located, is the swampy Orcish area. The northeast to the east is primarily, anyway, like gnomes and halflings. The southeast corner, which would be a sort of Sydney-esque in the Australia analogy, is the flower kingdoms where the humans live. Now, to the northwest and also to the southwest, there are two different regions that are controlled by dwarves. One is to the southwest is a chain of islands, which are very mountainous, and to the northwest there's like a big mountain range. So the dwarves are significantly a naval power.
Oh.
They also are essentially the traders. They have stone ships, so it's not necessarily a good idea to piss them off if you're in a boat.
Also, they can cast spells to their belly buttons.
No. No, they have. Well, being the industrial-minded, gold-appreciating race that they are, it always occurred to me that they should be more significant economically than most game systems have them be.
Yeah.
considering these are the guys that own and operate the gold mines and the diamond mines. It's like, probably got some rich guys going on in that line of work. So they trade a lot. They, as I said, their empires kind of spread around. They had to develop a naval infrastructure for that, and then they realized that they could buy and sell things and make more gold without having to spend hours sweating and laboring. So they have a lot of ready capital for purchasing things for the cheap and then hanging on to them until they can sell them for a profit.
I like how you said gold appreciating. That's a nice way to put it.
Yes. I appreciate gold. Yeah, so I sort of thought, because the dwarves usually get the short end of the stick in most campaign worlds. Yeah, and then there's some dwarves over there somewhere. We don't know where. So I'll give them sort of an interesting, because I mean they are an older race. Generally, that's how the elves and the dwarves generally have started to have their civilizations have predated the humans.
Where do they come from?
The different, like, where the humans come from, or where did all of the different races come from?
Yeah.
That's delving wholeheartedly into mythology and lore, but I mean,
abiogenesis.
Yeah, they were created by the singing of the. Oh shoot! I can't think of the word. With Tolkien for angels and God.
Yeah.
I wonder if I've got that. Still got that book in the drawer next to my desk.
Silmarillion?
Yeah, I had it for a long time. I had it like really, really close to my desk for quick reference, and I think I put it away because it's an old copy.
Nicest description of it I've ever heard is a significant accomplishment in terms of fantasy. Because it's certainly not enjoyable to read. It's like reading a history textbook.
It's like reading a history textbook that's written by the creators of the Bible, the King James Bible.
Yes, yes, essentially,
yeah. Yeah, in fact, it reads like the history portions of the King James Bible.
Yeah.
Very much. I think that was intentional.
It's almost like it was written by a stodgy old professor or something.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that's what he was going for, was that it should feel like you were reading a Bible when you read it.
Well, he did write like an academic. So.
Yeah, that is true.
Do you want pictures of our characters for like when we have like a fight scene where we can put a little icon for us?
Sure, yeah, that'd be cool.
I have not made one yet because I didn't know which character I was gonna play.
That's fine.
Also, I can't draw worth crap.
I go online and I look for pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna
do that too.
Just don't try and find a picture of a dwarf in a floppy hat because there are very few to be had.
Aw.
No, I'm sorry,
that
goblin.
needs to be remedied, obviously.
I know, right?
Bigotry against dwarves and floppy
That's what I should do. I should give Brian some money to draw some.
Yes, all dwarves.
I'm gonna use Blender, which is a 3D animation software. I'm gonna use that to make my character.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
I'm playing a member of the Blue Man Crew, so.
So if anyone, because I don't know who knows, because I'm worried that I'm telling you things I've already told all of you before, but I don't think all of you know. So the campaign setting itself, this is in dramatical chronological terms, a prequel campaign to a campaign I ran, I don't know, 15 years ago.
That's cool.
So because I had that setting already, and I had resources and stuff to pull from. I thought, all right, I'll use that setting because it was sort of. So this is sort of bookending because the original campaign dealt with the outcome of significant events that had happened around 1,000 years in the past. So this campaign is going to be those significant events actually happening. So, so how much? So again, so the opinion people had of the history in the previous campaign might be right and might be wrong. So I mean, the door is open to radically change what people thought significant, like thought the significant events actually were. But there are probably a couple.
Hello?
There are a couple of significant events that are probably going to happen regardless of what the
I can't
party
do that
does,
now. I'm in the
but
middle of
if
something.
the party is
I'm
on the
playing
ball enough to
Pathfinder.
actually
Like,
change
can
it, then
someone
it
else
will
do it?
actually change.
I mean,
and
it's
yes,
not
people
even my
in the
stuff.
future were misled about what happened. So,
Oh, that's cool.
not good.
Okay,
not good to completely
can I get sound to do it?
key events.
Alright.
And there are NPCs in this campaign that were in the other campaigns.
Can you give me a second, guys? I need to
Oh,
go
sure.
do something.
Okay, well, while he's taking a second, I'm gonna get more coffee.
Oh, good idea.
I'll be right back.
Sure thing.
I'm back.
WB. I think we're still waiting on two others who are availing themselves their various physiological necessities.
Whoa.
Hello. So yeah, some of the choices of races and classes for this campaign have, at least from where I'm sitting, cast amusing shadows on events that happened in the previous campaign that is in the future of this campaign, which is kind of funny. Like there are racial and class choices in this campaign that almost mirror the previous campaign in interesting ways. So.
Nuts.
Yeah, because I've tried not to influence people in those choices, but there seems to be interesting sorts of patterns. Yeah, so one of the underlying ideas behind the campaign setting was sort of just mix it up a little bit, but not create all new everything. So it's like a variation on the variation on a familiar tune. But
That makes sense.
yeah, 'cause it's sort of, it's not Middle Earth yet again. It's sort of, hopefully, it's not totally just Middle Earth.
Well, it sounds like it's gonna be fun.
That's the intention. Oh, so I don't know if Dark is back yet. I left a room in the forums for people to put like a background, like a backstory information. Which feel free to have that knowingly or perhaps unknowingly have errors in it. But people who would have known, like, if other characters known you, this is what they're going to know about your history. And then if there's information in that knowingly or unknowingly is incorrect that you would like to include me in, I can work that into. Like if you want to have, when I was 7, my best friend was kidnapped by kobolds or something.
There we go.
And so
I
you have
haven't
a thing
written
against
mine.
kobolds.
I haven't written
Well,
mine,
no, just
anything
like-
about mine.
Yeah,
Like-
so if you want to have stuff like that, that's cool, and I can work it in.
Yeah.
So at some point you can get revenge on that group of kobolds or rescue
that's-
your friend who's been, if you want stuff like that, it makes it more fun and personable, and then everyone, because I like to give, because one of the reasons also I wanted to know what races and classes people were going to do, so I can throw things in there that are going to be opportunities for different characters to sort of have shining moments based on what their skills and abilities are. Because it's nice for everybody to have a moment. Once in a while, it's like, hey, here's the thing I can do. Because like it's one of the problems we had in the sequel, the previously occurring sequel to this campaign, is that there was 2 people in the party who essentially tried to manipulate the rules as much as humanly possible to create death machines, effectively. So that's what started me on the path of I'm going to make my, and they had like committed to memory the monster manual, and had like the optimal weapon type for every type of monster on them at all times.
Yeah.
So I started inventing new monsters. Here you go. It's a giant thing. You go, what page is it on? I've never seen that before. I said, no, you haven't seen that before. And it's not in your book. Like, what? And I would just give them scads of hit points, so to sort of counteract their death machine is osity.
I didn't
Yeah, let's-
actually put my points in my skills for the second character sheet I made. Shit.
And then
and
a couple other players were very much role players, and they had like quirky oddball characters. So it was
I've
I'm
got
back.
one. Got one that I'm doing like on another campaign right now. I DM friend who let me play a pixie.
oh cool.
Needless to say, we are having quite a bit of fun with the pixie. I'm high enough level in pixie levels now that I can be invisible all the time if I want to. So,
Oh, so when I don't know if I told you this story before. I apologize. So I went to see the first Lord of the Rings movie with one of the people from that campaign who was one of the quirky RP type, and then the scene when the Balrog shows up and the fly you fools, that bit. So the Balrog shows up because like all the goblins scatter. The Balrog pops out, big flaming monster, and then the campaign member leaned over to me and goes, "This is where Adrian and Carmen run at the monster to attack it and complain you make the creatures too hard to kill." Because they would automatically attack anything that moved, right? It's like, I went, yeah, that's what they would do. They would come at it. But looks like a fire elemental, so let's use this weapon, and then you go over there and I'll go over here. Because there was there was these flying gargoyle creatures that were guarding the tower that would dive bomb them all the time. They had nothing they could do.
jeez.
Significantly fight back against flying things.
Yeah, I played with people that would get up there, attack things, or launch each other. Like I've played with guys that have actually one of them threw another one to up into the air to attack a flying creature.
Basketball special.
Yeah.
What is
Dwarves
that
or tossing jokes were tossed around everywhere.
Boy, and what in the big fight at the end of the Final Fantasy movie when he's like ends up like half a mile in the air because he's jumping on flying, like, floating bits and stuff. It's like, this is silly. He like throws 100 swords into the air and is jumping from sword to sword. I'm like, yeah, you can't actually do that, guys. It's like, physics doesn't quite work that way, but
Why should
it
that
looks
matter?
cool, but it's just
Movie
confusing. Just give him a flying ring or something. Just get over it.
Bah, takes all the fun out of it.
Okay, so how are we gonna like get everybody together? Because my character's like Ray's here, so that's why she's here.
Yeah.
What's everyone else's excuse?
Everyone, unless you really want to have other arrangements, which that's cool too. But it's in Pencil, everyone is staying in this inn. It's how do I describe it? It's kind of, sort of the community center for the less affluent region of town, if you will.
The ghetto?
Not quite as bad as that. It's a reasonably affluent town. It's a reasonably new town, so things haven't degraded all that much yet. But like a lot of the buildings in this area of town are rather shabby and not necessarily well constructed. But this is you're sort of in the northeast area of town.
Back.
WB.
Thanks.
Oh yeah, it's further east than I thought. Yeah, so you're a fair ways out from the fancier buildings, which are more. I think I put a picture of the inn. I think. That one. Started. No, I didn't. Oh well. Oh no, there's okay, lost and found inn. There we go. Yeah, so that's vaguely kind of sort of the, although it's not going to actually be mass produced chairs in the inn, but that's kind of sort of the decor for the where we are now. Yeah, because I wrote a bit. Okay, I'm repeating myself. That's got closed as well. But yeah, so you probably you would most probably be sharing a room with somebody. It's sort of like dorm rooms, effectively. It's not posh, but it's warm when it's cold and it's dry when it rains inside. You have certain access to the kitchen for virtue of the fact that you're staying there. You may be staying there because someone vouched for you. You might be staying there because you're paying your own way. You might be staying there because somebody owed you a favor. That sort of. You guys can have fun with that aspect of it. I'm not gonna dictate that much because I don't want to step on anybody's toes as far as character concepts. But yeah, for the purposes of ducks in a row and page synchronization. Everyone's, unless you want to, live in like next door or something or nearby. If you really want to do that, if you're affluent or local, both, that could be a thing. If you want.
Is Clovis
not affluent?
Is Clovis affluent?
Clovis is reasonably high up in the church.
Oh.
So she would be so she's taken care of.
Alright.
Yeah, her concerns are not towards the material at all. Yeah, she is a very ethereal person in many ways. She doesn't really think
do have one question because I didn't pick one out. I want to make sure I got this right. Only humans start out at first level picking a feat. You start out with the ones you get for your character class.
Humans get a
or
bonus one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And-
you
and-
get one to start.
Oh, you get one to start, and then
Yes.
humans
Yeah.
get 2. Okay. So
Yes.
Yeah, and human
You have to
fighters
make a
get
feat.
3, don't they?
Because of the fighter bonus feat, yes.
Yeah.
Unless they take an archetype that changes that.
Yes.
Not to cut you off, but I just wanted to kibosh that.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, you get your feat. You all.
Okay.
Yeah, I
those-
thought so. Yeah.
I looked and looked and looked and really didn't see anything in the description of the character classes character races I was picking from, and
Character advancement innately dictates that you get a bonus
Yep,
feat
you
every
start out.
the first level and every odd level nowadays. So you get 10 feats total.
okay, and I couldn't find the chart. Like I
That
have
said-
for difficulty navigating the online books that I do. A book I'm holding in my hand.
Yeah. Me too. That's why I went and got the main book. So I have a physical copy.
I might have to break down and do that.
So I might, when we're playing, I could potentially use rules that are actually from previous editions or conceivably from completely different games. I'm not doing it maliciously. I just have way too many game tables in my brain. I may not necessarily access the correct one, but I try to be fair.
I never worry. It's like you have to work really, really hard to try to offend me.
Okay. Well, also I noticed with this, I mean, it's like, it seems like it's like 90 to 95% 3.0 with just
Yeah.
little changes. Like it would be
Yeah.
easier to differentiate if it was different, but it's
Yeah.
so similar. It's like, oh wait. It's like,
I'm noticing that more and more as I go along. But,
yeah.
Yeah,
Seriously, I'm distracted like 3/4 of the time, and far too lazy to actually get offended. So it takes work to maintain that. I don't want to do it.
Yeah. So I'm not. And again, I try to keep it fun for everybody. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
My mission is not to kill all the players as quickly and efficiently as possible.
Yeah, there's Dungeon Land for that.
Yes.
Dungeon Land is for noobs. There's an old 2nd edition module called the Labyrinth of Madness.
Technically speaking, I'm being a video game jerk here because I actually referenced a party
know.
game. Oh, you.
I know, but there's a 2nd edition module called the Labyrinth of Madness that before you have entered the dungeon proper, it's possible for you to have set off a trap that alerts everything in the dungeon that you're present
You mentioned this.
and changes all the encounters. And before you make it into the first place, there's a junction where you can go more than one way. There is a trap, and this is a 2nd edition, so you know lower hit point numbers, where on the ladder there is a glyph of warding that does 10 die 4. If it does at least 10 damage, you fall to the bottom, taking 20 die 6 falling damage. If that, and triggering a power word kill. If that kills you, it reanimates you and levitates you back to the top, just to rub the rest of the party's nose in it.
You forgot the part where it turns you into a zombie if it kills you on the
Animate
last part.
dead, levitate.
A flying zombie.
I mean, a zombie's not a threat to a party at the appropriate level for this, but it's just to rub the party's nose in it.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to hurt you, I'm not just going to kill you, I'm going to kill you, reanimate you, and hand you back to the party.
Well, I did make a module once where there was a door which, if you opened it, created a portal into effectively deep space. So you would get blown through the door, and then the door gets slammed shut, sucked shut behind you, and the portal closes.
This is reminding me of that one story of the gnomes. The party mistakenly said to them to have a nice day, and the gnomes took their day. Yeah, those gnomes were Terran reality douches. They really were. They eventually got their day back, but along the way they managed to piss off an entire assassin's guild. About 300 people worth.
There we go. Yeah, on the
It's a miracle they live.
list of groups not to cheese off, the Assassin's Guild ranks very highly.
Generally. Oh, once in a game I ran, I gave all of the players a list of options of, background things. It didn't tell them the consequences of any of them. Because they were just some element of your background, you remember having done this and you have this obvious trait, this obvious side effect. Like one of them had a cursed eye thing as a consequence of having gone to the wrong place and seen too much, which is the nicest way of putting it. One of them didn't remember his past. There's a reason he didn't remember his past, and when he found out what his past was, he was both deeply concerned and then proceeded to basically say, screw everybody. I would have fucked every side in this conflict that is going on at the same time, because you all think I'm one of you. And I think at the end of it, he was like a quadruple agent in a conflict that only really had two sides.
There's heel turning, there's face turning, and then there's revolving door turning.
Yeah. Well, Ric Flair has pulled that off in the past.
We also call that the
Nature
Big
Boy.
Show scenario.
I thought he was just like a metronome.
I think it's time to start the game.
Was there any more questions, concerns, comments, quips, queries, fits of commiseration?
I have a bit.
Sure.
Did you have a look at them now?
Well, I said take the one you liked, which is the FF one, wasn't it? The one you most wanted? Or are they both FF?
No, then I gotta realign my sheet again. Yay.
Are you familiar with that drawback I took?
Let me go back and check. I'm looking at these guys here.
The particular form it takes matches my not exactly common ancestor.
Huh. Let's see.
It seems very thematically appropriate.
Great. Go back here. Take this link again.
So I linked the actual drawback.
Okay. I was trying. I was just double checking the character sheet which one it was. Okay. The one with a U in it.
Yes,
Is
the
that
specific.
on the second link? I don't know. Oh, is it?
I
didn't
linked
scroll
the
down.
actual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you
I
weren't
think it was
familiar
up
with it, I linked it in Skype. Eventually, they'd all notice, anyways.
Yeah. Well, potentially. You never know. Try to find the link for it. Oh, you linked it in the common?
Yeah, I linked it in the common one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like I said, the
Is it the first one or
specific
the second?
form. The second one is specifically the not exactly common ancestor I have.
Okay.
Is what it resembles. The whole
Ah.
inner nature reflecting itself kind of thing. That's where I was going with it.
Okay. Just checking alignments. There are lots of blooping, is that? Oh, okay, here we go. Just seeing if our not yet here party members are just running late.
Waiting to see if the paladin in the party instantly loses his class features by being part of the group.
Oh no, I was just seeing how we can become old house flippers. Nope. So what do we have here? Yeah, there was an ASMR in the previous group.
Goody two shoes.
ASMR, yeah, cleric.
Perfect.
Like 9,000 pages open now. Need to get a card table or something to make my life so much easier than trying to balance all the books on a chair. Interesting. Yay, first level hit points. Okay. Somebody's armor classes only go up now, right? Don't they?
Yes.
That still seems weird. I don't know.
We're done
It's
with Thaco. Thaco is not existing anymore.
Yes.
I don't know. I think it's less weird than a +1 armor making your AC go down by 1. So
Yeah.
always hated Thaco.
It's a wonky system.
Well, it's because large portions of it were taken from Minis Wargaming.
Yep.
And kind of manhandled into position.
Well, chainmail, I think, was the miniature system.
Well, no, I mean, back in the beginning, D&D had its origins in Minis Wargaming.
Yeah, but I think the miniature game was that in question was called Chainmail. I think. I have a vague memory of that being the case now. Okay, let's get everybody's. Oh, here we go. Here's the names of the gods. If anybody needed names of any of the gods.
That'd be nice to know.
Yeah.
That would be actually one thing that would be good for me would be to know once I pick a deity if the deities have favorite weapons listed.
The inner gods certainly could. The outer gods would be way too ephemeral for that. They're almost
Okay.
personified concepts more than they are supernatural humans. They're more, yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll put them. So I'll go round the clock. So awful. Whose color is? Oh, it's good. Sorry, good. It was white. Is Abdras? And is considered to be male. And then lawful good is blue. Svathen is also considered to be male.
pronounce that? Finn?
Fathen.
Alright, Finn.
Fathen.
Alright.
You can put as much of a glottal stop on the f as you want, but yeah, it's Fathen.
Finn. Finn.
Fathen, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like a f, and then you cut it off, and then you do the then.
Yeah, Finn.
There you go. So off neutral, which is cold. Which is my Thoth. And is considered to be female. Evil. Red. Is.
Are these outer or inner gods?
These are the outer.
Oh, yeah.
Red and is also female. Well, you can, dude. It's alright. Evil, which is black color. This is an all. And is male. Iconic evil. It's orange. Yes, we got a spar. Too many A's. Considered to be male. Chouse. Which is purple. Zerath. Oh, and female. And what am I missing? Akiatica. Green. Raw. And is considered to be female. I think that's everybody.
Yeah. So is Finn, is that the Lord or the God of Light?
Well, something as definitive as light would be an inner god. But one could be a follower of light and be in Then's zone, more so specifically than Abdrus's zone.
Okay.
Although arguably, like, anything that isn't evil is good, and anything that isn't good is evil. You can sort of split it in half that way, and anyone in the top half at that point could then, it sort of belongs, in air quotes, to Abdras, and anything below that point would belong, in air quotes again, to Zenal.
Would there possibly be a chaotic good inner god?
Yeah, well, several, yes. There would be several. The nature of chaos, what it's being, there are going to be more chaos gods than order gods. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But they would just sort of be refined. Like you said, like the more specific it becomes, and the less abstract it becomes, the more relatable it becomes.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. The reason I'm asking is because my character class has a bonus feature, special ability, whatever you want to call it, a class feature, sacred weapon, which the sacred weapon, like the weapon wielded by the war priest, is charged with the power of his faith, and whatever the favored weapon of his deity is, that's one of his sacred weapons. anything that he takes weapon focus in is also a sacred weapon.
Okay.
But
Makes sense.
and he can use it for. It looks like he can use it for every single one of them. But he gets that free on if there's a weapon that's the favorite weapon of his deity.
Yeah, because depending on which philosophical outlook you're from, you would see any of the inner gods potentially as like children.
Yeah, but is there a list
May have
of them?
one or may have two. Well, not a comprehensive list, because I mean it's like sort of like the Hindu thing, right? It's like, yeah, there's
Right.
lots. Everybody fits in there somewhere. If you don't see one that you like, you can make a new one.
Okay.
But like ultimately, you're sort of accessing one or more of the four sort of compass point outer gods, I guess to call them.
Okay.
Because even the four secondary outer gods are. Well, I think on the one chart I have, they're sort of halfway between being human or elven or whatever, being a finite being and being an abstraction. They're halfway the distance between.
Right. I guess it's a detail I want to nail down so that I can sort of arrange my
Absolutely.
sacred weapons.
Yeah.
Because I get weapon focus, or it says focus weapon, but it's basically weapon focus as a bonus feat also to start out with. So, and then I have a feat to take, and I'm gonna take weapon focus because the sacred bonus weapon is a pretty good bonus. But if I have a favored weapon, a deity favored weapon, that allows me to choose 3 different things to have as, and I've got 3 weapons, so it would be perfect. But I would have to know whether whether I could pick a deity that would have as its favorite weapon, like the great sword, the throwing axe, or the bow.
Absolutely, yes. Whichever one you'd like, ultimately. Particularly given it's a chaos. You're talking about chaos gods. So. And if you want to make it a god that is commonly worshipped in your homeland or by your race, absolutely. If you want to make it a god that you're trying to inform the world of, that you had a revelation in regarding, you can do that too.
Okay.
Whichever you think is more amusing. Let's see, evil gods. Although most accurately, in terms of historical perspective, virgin meant prepubescent. That's what the word originally meant, and then because it was assumed that after you reach puberty, you were doing certain things that are not associated with being a virgin. Yeah, and that sort of the meaning drifted over the years.
That one's tough. That one's tough.
But yes, so they would just be drunk on the blood of children. That works too. Oh, so the curtain at the southern end of the bar area, there's like a private area for parties and whatnot. I didn't draw that.
It's a champagne room?
Hmm?
It's a champagne room?
Not exactly. It's just like for swanky people if the occasion rises. So on. Yep. Okay.
Hey, question for somebody who can actually answer it.
No problem. Okay, bye-bye. My PSW is running early, and they want to know if it's okay if they show up early, so...
trying to figure out this weight sizing. Like, it's weird because they've got certain things that say, oh, this is half size if you're small. Some of it isn't. Did they factor that in for anyone's sizes when they're starting character kits? No.
Of course not. That would be silly.
Yeah, of course it would be. And then some of these are really weird, like containers if you buy them in for small people. Oh, that one's a fun one. This one might be half size, or it might be 1/4 of a size, or might only store 1/4 of the items that a normal size would. Now let's do a last second recalculation, shall we?
Oh, and in terms of, because I was mentioning that geographically we're sort of in Alice Springs, it's kind of sort of. Culturally, Durand is atypical. It essentially, well, the one explanation for it that I used originally was it's this world's version to a certain degree of Sarasota, Florida, which is where all the carnies live when they're not, or it was at one point anyway, where like all the carnies would live. So that's where a lot of physically differentiated individuals sort of have their own community. So there's a bit of an element to that. There was a very protracted war through the Central Plains, vast death and devastation, to the point where like all of the races were in trouble as far as running out of people, which is sort of where the uneasy truce that now exists came from. It was out of mutual necessity, because it didn't really look like anyone was going to be the clear winner. So there was so there is in Durand a kind of sorta United Nations kind of sorta council, where they have different people representing the different interests of the different groups. It is often a place where adventurer types retire, because they've kind of been, well, the Darkest Dungeon game is sort of running with the idea. If you've been out dealing with, delving into dungeons and fighting demons and monsters and stuff, when the time comes to retire, you might not necessarily fit into normal society anymore. So some of the people of that nature sort of roundabout ended up drifting around. There was a lot of them in the area. A lot of them didn't really want to go back home. They kind of stuck around and sort of became a thing. So it is, it's a town where the troublemakers tend to tread lightly, because you never quite know whose house you might be breaking into. So crime. Well, the one description which I always liked is that the crime rate is quite low, but the suicide rate is somewhat problematic, because going into certain parts of town at certain times of night is essentially suicide. So
Okay.
yeah, so there's a bit of that. It's like, there are things that people generally know are not good things to be doing, because you're going to cheese off the wrong people. And although the body may one day be found, it will never be identified. So it's reasonably safe for the most part. In not unlike the way that places where, concealed carry is a thing.
What?
People are a lot politer on the street because you don't know who's packing heat. A bit like that. May look like a kindly old man walking down the street with a cane. It doesn't mean that's necessarily what he actually
What it is.
Yeah. So that element of it also sort of motivated some people to hang around, because it's less there's a lot less nuisance factor than living in some of the more bustling type city areas of the different races. Although the dwarves keep pretty tight rein on things, but not everybody necessarily wants that either. So, yeah, so it's sort of a town of misfits, if you will.
Cool.
So there is a lot of latitude here for being an unusual, having an unusual heritage or parentage, or having an unusual being an atypical species.
Or being an orc.
You're kind of gonna blend in, and then the primary races are reasonably well represented to one degree or another. Like so sort of like here you can be essentially who you are, but if the party ends up going to like Flower Kingdoms, for example, it's really going to be your best interest if there's like a human spokesperson. Or actually, I probably could get into the Elven area, but yeah, well, there's an Elven port city you could theoretically visit, where you're going to have an easier time of it if there at least is someone who speaks Elven, if not an actual elf at any rate. But yeah, so I made my elves a tad more xenophobic. They're kind of sort of modeled on the Linos Alfar from the Finnevar tapestry. Kind of sort of, if that helps anybody.
Doesn't help me.
And if it doesn't, go and read the book, because it's freaking awesome. It blows Lord of the Rings out of the water, just completely. And it's written by the guy who finished the Silmarillion. So he ghost wrote / finished the Silmarillion. And there's actually a sort of a sequel to it as well, which is Isabel. But I'm getting sidetracked. Sorry. I'm distracted by my bookcase. Bad eyes, bad.
So we're on this bar?
Well, yeah, you guys live upstairs. Which is, I tried to make a approximation of a spiral staircase. That's what that's supposed to be. It sort of looks like a sideways G, but that's what a spiral staircase.
A real G, yeah.
Let me just make one more attempt to rattle the cage of the missing peoples.
That's alright, I'm still correcting mistakes on my character
no problem.
sheet.
Yeah.
Well, I made the Asmar character sheet, or started to make the Asmar character sheet, and cloned it. So my character sheet's listed as Kendrick Clone, and the character's actual, they just stuck with the same name. The character just has a first name, no last name.
I
Yo, Neil last name.
I'm trying to.
Say yo, Neil last name.
Yeah, no, this race actually doesn't do last names.
Well, there you go.
So.
Which is interesting, because I had a friend from Tibet when I was at Niagara College, and she didn't have a last name. But the computer wouldn't accept that, so they had to put her only name as her first name and as her last name. So every class I was in with her, she had to explain that no, her name wasn't. I'm forgetting what it was now.
It's Mario.
That it wasn't the same word twice. It was just the one word.
Yeah. Yay, computers.
Yeah.
I'm sure she was thrilled.
Yeah.
So,
I was talking with them yesterday? Last night. Talked to them last night, and they knew about the game then. Tell me what happened.
I'm in a similar situation over here, Hannah. I because I wasn't able to okay any of the races, I pre-built my sheet assuming a different race. And so it's like I'm sitting here staring at a self-crafted type that I created, But then there's this other race that's small, and I have to recalculate. If I want to use them, I have to recalculate for all the poundage. And this poundage system is borked. Let me just say that right now.
Oh yeah, gear for people of unusual sizes is a pain in the ass.
Oh.
I mean, never mind the fact. Let's just start with how much does the actual backpack carry? Do you know? Because they list in the book how much a large sack carries. They will not tell you the poundage of what
size
a
category?
backpack will carry.
Yeah.
It
What
should
size
more be
category?
a volume than a weight, I would think.
Here's the problem.
What
I would agree with
what
that.
size
except
category backpack?
Small.
Moment.
Because you see, with the backpack they only list the cubic feet, yet almost every other weight system they use in this game is poundage. And then they have you make all these weird adjustments to account for the poundage, depending on your size. If you're large, you get twice the size. If you're small, you get 3/4. So it's like, okay, and then storage. Sometimes storage will give you only weighs half, but then other times it weighs 3/4 and only gives you a fourth to use.
Yeah.
Weird. No joke. I'm building this thing. And I'm like, oh, now that I finally have the okay. Do I even want to? Now I've got a pre-built sheet right here for my other idea. Well, my other character race. It's like.
Making a mess.
Oh.
I'm trying to add things to the map. It's making a mess. Well, the bar area, although where I wrote it is sort of not good anymore, but so the bar, yeah, they're not actual doors. They're sort of openings in the wall. They're not like they're doorways, but there's not actually doors on them. So I was putting a white square to indicate it, to differentiate it from the gray squares that are actual physical doors.
This is the game. They can't even afford doors.
Well, they're just going in and out a lot, so they just didn't bother to put them. And then there's a bit of a sort of a window, like a kiosk window over here into the cloakroom. So put in pinkish color.
This character's gonna actually keep me on my toes, especially in battle, because at the beginning of my turn every round in battle, I have to choose, I have a bonus, and I have to choose what I'm putting it into, and it only lasts one round each round, so it can change every round.
Cool.
I can give it to my speed, my AC, my attack, or my saving throws.
Oh, neat. Is that a racial thing or a class thing?
It's a class thing.
Cool.
It's to do. It's one of the you get 2 blessings from this class, and so I picked the magic blessing and the war blessing. And war mind is the first level one, and that's what you get.
Bad not having chairs.
We're tough. We can stand.
I'm just drawing them in.
Oh, bollocks to this. I'll just run the
Oh, I didn't know those were supposed to have chairs around them. Like, what's with the different color tables up here?
Yeah, I know. Those are the nicer ones, I guess. They're better quality.
So what kind of stuff goes on in the stage area?
They have in like evening-y type. They have performers that come on, bards and whatnot will come on and use the stage area. They do theater here from time to time. It's sort of a community center as well. It's because I'm going with more of the like Western European idea of an inn or a tavern, or a pub, which is a public house. So people, sleep at home, and then they hang out in the public house. So that it's sort of an unofficial / de facto soup kitchen of sorts. They do a fair bit of unofficial charity goes on. Oh, getting blue. One of the missing peoples? No, it's not. Oh, is that Elric? Picture looks a bit like Elric. They always, I don't know, most of the artists don't draw Stormbringer properly.
There. 125. Check the weights. Yeah, that'll have to do.
You wouldn't have anywhere to plug in the amps, that's the problem.
No, it's magical, man.
Music with rocks in it.
Their amps are powered with strange eldritch powers.
Just in case. Alright, that should do
Have
it.
you seen or read Soul Music?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you should. You could probably get a kick out of it.
Cool.
Because they sort of. It's sort of a story about rock and roll occurring in a fantasy setting.
Awesome.
Yes. Because they made a cartoon based on the book.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's it called? Soul what?
Soul Music.
Soul music.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll look that
Look
up
on
later.
YouTube, the animated thing. Because Christopher Lee does the voice of Death in it.
Awesome.
Christopher Lee. Because Susan is in it as well. Who's Death's granddaughter. Who's related to Death, arguably on both sides. Well, her dad was Death's apprentice, and her mom was Death's daughter.
Alright.
Her dad briefly was Death.
This would make dating extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to ask Death's daughter to the prom.
Yes, I know. Well, that's why Death's apprentice ended up marrying her.
Don't you even think about drinking and driving tonight. You know what's gonna happen. I will find you.
Which is funny, because I don't think you've seen it then, because that's kind of sort of what happens.
No,
At one point in the story. Oh, yeah. And Death's horse is named Binky.
Binky. Cool.
Yes.
You know,
And
that's
Death-
what I
Death
would
has
do
a
if I
sidekick.
were Death.
Well, I think Susan named him Binky, if I'm remembering correctly. Possibly
if
not.
If I were
I mean,
some horribly intimidating, big, scary entity that everybody was, had to respect, and I had a mount, I would give it an absolutely ridiculous, cutesy wootsy name.
yeah.
Call my
If I
horse
could-
opalescent. Boom.
There we go. This is my pet dragon, Fluffy. But your dragon doesn't have any fur. Shh! Don't tell him.
The dragon's looking up at you like, why am I here? Why am I here?
He's very sensitive about his baldness.
You put a giant bow on the dragon. Dragon just looks dejected as pulls that out. This is what I wasted 400 years of my life to become.
Well, the red dragon in Darkfall was nicknamed Fluffy.
There you go.
Did the red dragon actually like that?
He tended to try and kill us when he saw us. I don't know if that's any indication if we liked it or not.
Alright, so what are we all doing in the bar? I know my character.
Drinking.
Yeah, my character's in there just hanging out.
Are there any wenches there? I want to do them. So the bartender is named Ren, who is a strapping, blonde, Scandinavian-ish looking fellow. There are 3 barmaids, Dottie, who is a ginger, Tina, who generally or frequently is referred to as Tiny, who is a halfling, and then a somber hued barmaid who everyone refers to as the Sultana.
The Sultana.
Or just Sultana for short. But yeah, no one seems to actually use her real name. Perhaps they don't know it. Perhaps they just can't pronounce it. But you only know her as Sultana or the Sultana.
She clearly has a shady backstory. Now, people named Bill don't have shady backstories.
Bill?
What depends.
Oh, Bill and Kill Bill had a
whether or
rather
not they're
shady
politicians.
That's true too, yeah. Yeah, I'm not a good example of a not shady name.
They not only can they have shady backstories, but they can distract everybody from their shady backstories by getting everybody all up in arms about whether or not they were having sex in the billiard room with the candlestick.
What do you mean by is?
It depends on what the definition of is. I think you go easily through that, Kyle, because everybody was paying attention to that, and nobody looked at his financial dealings.
Yes, exactly. It was a wonderful
shit.
strike. Well, that's what the movie
Noticed
Wag
that
the Dog was about, essentially.
Yeah.
Using fake scandals to distract people from real scandals.
See, I was thinking of another one. It actually, what got me thinking of it was Obama importing people with Ebola into the United States. Like, oh yeah, let's bring those guys here. The next Wag the Dog is going to be a fake epidemic that they can use. Well, we have to quarantine these people, and then they just disappear forever. Yeah, they tested positive for Ebola. It didn't. The political dissent didn't have anything to do with it.
He should have muted his mic. I gotta get me a webcam.
I have one, I just don't use it most of the time.
Yeah, I'm gonna start live streaming music soon, so I think having a webcam
And then it'd be
and better lighting would help. So, what's everyone else doing in the bar?
I'm probably just sitting there quietly drinking and eating if there is food there. I'm sure there is food there. I probably have a cloak over my armor with my hood up.
Oh, so nobody knows what you look like, huh?
Yeah, I don't draw attention to myself.
Huh?
But if you notice my hands, they're blue.
Yeah, I'm doing what she's doing.
Light blue, but they're still blue. I look like ghostly. Weird. Not quite like the not quite like the offensive picture.
Yeah, I tried to look for the artist who made that picture. I could not find them anywhere on the internet. Yeah, well, my character's a 7-foot tall female orc wearing scale mail.
Oh, my character's male this time too.
Oh, okay.
Which stinks because it looks like most of the pictures I can see for my race online are actually female.
Alright.
They draw all these. I suppose it's more fun to draw blue women than blue men.
No, just find a picture of the Blue Men group.
There we go. Well, it's not quite that bold of a blue. Here's one. Stock art. Male Samson. Well, of course, it's a druid. I'm not playing a druid. but the most commonly most commonly portrayed skin color seems to be represented in this picture. Most of them are some variation on that blue.
Cool.
Oh, this looks like a neat shot. Of course, that guy has better armor than me.
This guy looks like kind of look like one of those what is it, Navi from Avatar.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
I don't know why this isn't.
Yeah, there's a few images with more bold blue on them, but most of them, because it says pale blue in the description,
Oh yeah.
and this is not. So there's apparently a person named Saren who in the image is a pair of big jiggly boobs in a bra. it's a gift. and she's not blue.
Oh okay. Cool. Too bad. Hello.
Okay, I was making sure that mute was not on.
No, it wasn't. We heard everything.
Oh no.
That sounds familiar. It's not like you didn't wander off and we heard you in the background. Because it's totally there.
Oh, geez, this is the strangest one I've come across. I gotta wonder what's going on in this picture. And it wants to download instead of viewing image. It's not good. Yeah, it won't let me. I can't share the image. It's
The snapping
It's
turtle.
It looks like a naked guy with a helmet on in a cabbage patch in a downward dog position. He looks like he's humping a cabbage.
Sounds about right.
In the Google image search for Samsara, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows down. It's the strangest of all the pictures that has come up in that. Well, besides the jiggly boob chick, which I noticed first, and it's below that.
Oh yeah, I see the picture you're doing. That looks like that's from Skyrim.
What the hell is?
Yeah, people use hack. There's a hack. You can hack it in the game, and then create like infinite quantities of random items. So people have made YouTube videos where they spawn like 100,000 cabbages at the top of a mountain and watch them all roll down the mountain and stuff like that. So I'm thinking this is
just weird.
probably somewhere related to that.
This is the portrayal of where Cabbage Patch dolls come from. Or Cabbage Patch Kids.
Alright, my character starts detecting evil on random people in the bar. Start with the blue skin person.
Yeah, that wouldn't come up as evil. He's not.
Let me just get everybody's
I think it's kind of. I think it's kind.
pencil. There we go.
I don't think I can like slyly detect evil. I think it's something that's kind of like casting a spell. So
Yeah.
I think you would know that I'm doing something towards you. If not, know that I'm detecting evil.
Everyone,
Either that or it looks like you're waving. Hi!
everyone, give me your
I don't
character
know.
name and your hit points and your AC.
Oh, just.
Nathan, I guess.
Can I just link you my myth waivers sheet, or you want me to just tell you?
I'm just jotting it down on paper so I
Okay.
can keep track.
I rolled for hit points. I wanted to make sure that's the right thing to do.
You
or
get
is it
max
like
at first
that?
level.
Oh, you start out with max? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Then I have 2 more hit points.
Yeah, my hit point is 14. You said my AC as well, right? My AC is.
18 cons?
I have 19 AC.
And your character's name, just so I
Ascaton.
can.
It's spelled it's spelled ESCHATON.
Okay. So dark.
Mirren.
M-Y?
No, M-I. M-I-R-E-N. AC of 16, 8 HP.
And Donald or Shadrach?
Character name Mournforth. Just Mournforth.
With an M?
Yes. Spell it how you like.
Yeah.
Hit points 15, AC 17.
And Hannah?
Kendrick, Kendrik. Hit points 10, AC 16.
So your character's male?
Yes.
Okay. And the orc is female, yes?
Correct.
And Mirren is female?
Yes.
Or male?
Apparently his lady's not at the bar.
Yeah. And Morn is male?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm real here.
So I'm using the correct pronouns.
Last thing you want to do is trigger an orc.
Yeah, they're not as gender dimorphic as humans, I don't think. So yeah, it's harder to tell.
Yeah,
We
well,
did have a gnome character who believed she was an orc. She was raised by orcs,
oh, cool.
and when people would tell her you're obviously not an orc because you're too small, she would say you're just an idiot. I'm a girl.
She didn't know
Her
that.
name was Grignac Skullcrusher.
She
She
didn't
was a
know.
barbarian.
She didn't know that the other female orcs didn't look like her either.
No, well, she noticed they were smaller, right?
Slightly.
Well, she was adopted by a somewhat insane, somewhat brain-addled female orc who'd lost her own kid,
Oh, alright.
and only survived the experience because she had a 20 con. So she was able to actually not be poisoned by whatever random things her adopted mother tried to get her to eat from time to time. Although it did skew her perception of reality a tad. But it was hilarious because all of the orcs on the server completely accepted her as an orc. So
That's
if anybody messed with her, all the orcs would show up and beat the crap out of them.
So I pretty much detect evil on everybody in the bar. Is anybody here
I hold
evil?
up a sheet of iron.
Doesn't it have to be lead?
Alright,
Oh.
lead.
No, you already said iron. I go right through it.
Still detect nothing. I look up and I go, that's very rude of you. Slam
Yes, sir.
the shit on the ground.
Something of a social faux pas. Randomly casting spells at people.
I'm just trying to keep the world safe, okay?
If it triggers someone.
Someone
dude.
should be deeply offended by that.
Someone.
Well, it's the middle of the day. There's not a lot of people around. There's a lot of kids around.
I imagine I'm used to people having that kind of reaction to me, so I don't know.
Yeah, you'd probably find it
doesn't
stranger
mean they
if
should be
someone
staring
didn't
like
react
that.
to you. But
I glance over at him and go back to eating and drinking.
I snap my fingers, detect magic, and I stare right back at him. Right back at her.
oh, cat fun.
Okay, so I basically did that on everyone except B-Drone.
Okay.
Hmm.
Why not Mirren out of idle curiosity?
No, I did it to her, or him.
Oh.
But like I did it to her. I don't know. But anyway, I did to her as well. But she had the lead sheet, so I don't know her alignment. I don't know if she's evil or not.
Well, if you're just detecting evil, it's not gonna bring up my alignment.
No, it's just it'll come up if you're evil.
You'd actually have to know alignment on me.
Yeah.
That's true.
And honestly, I was
Then you-
fucking
then
I
you'd
didn't actually
only be-
prepare the lead sheet. I should have known there was a paladin around.
Then you'd have to be halfway offended.
Your,
I'm still
your
offended
evil dar
regardless.
does not seem to have been triggered.
Yeah.
There's no trigger intensifying right now.
So now he doesn't have to denounce the party.
Trigger warning.
Oh, the heretic.
Evil.
Hey, I'm just trying to keep the world safe. Paladin's duty.
This is gonna turn into a Miyazaki
Yeah.
moment, and I just know it.
Paladins are just full of duty.
Yep. Also, requisition stick up ass.
That's to help to evict the duty.
Ooh, exercise the duty.
Yeah.
Well,
So, is there anything else, anybody else? Go on. Go on.
Yeah, there's it's not anything abnormal going on, really. I mean, because you've been here a while. It seems like an ordinary, let's call it Tuesday. Seems like an ordinary Tuesday.
Yeah.
The normal urchins are shimmying around, looking for not finished food on yet to be collected plates, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, wait till hump day. That's when the action happens.
Number of signs. Hold on.
So basically, the only patrons in here are just like the people who are in the party.
The only, I don't know, people of ominous portent are the party members.
Yeah.
Yes. There's kids running around. There's local people who come in here that you're used to seeing here.
Oh, so the party people are only people I wouldn't recognize.
So everyone, give me a perception check.
Nice. I think we're all gonna die, aren't we?
A Tarask. This is my appearance.
Oh crap! That's not.
Wielding a lightsaber.
There we go. I rolled a 9 for my perception.
There's my that is class.
Just 1 second. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay, yeah, that is a class.
Well, you can use your 10 and make it. Not that it's going to make a big difference.
Racial bonuses to perception are nice sometimes.
Jelly. Oh, incidentally, can I go ahead and make a notation call with you? Ed. The dolls are in the bag. The dolls are in the bag and active.
Okay, so what do we see? I rolled a 9.
Yes. There we go.
Oh.
Hour of the internet.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Question. IP.
Yes.
IP. What are you referring to, Dave?
My what?
Yeah,
Sorry?
that went robo and I didn't hear it.
Yeah, me too.
I will just respond with message.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it must have lagged and missed a bit.
Alright, so what do we see?
I would like to grab his hand.
Well, he's not adjacent to you, but you can like go and.
Oh.
Oh.
He's not like right beside the table. He's over by the bar.
Alright, I stare directly at him and just very
What's he
loudly.
doing?
He seems to be clearing his throat in the direction of one of the urchins who are milling about in the tavern. Who
Okay.
now seems to be making an attempt to scarper off out the door.
I detect evil on the urchin that he's gesturing towards.
You do not detect evil from the fleeing urchin.
Uh,
At least not in any significant quantity.
are you okay? Don's character's a dude, right?
Morn?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
You okay, sir?
No, just drawing some attention to someone who didn't want attention drawn to them.
Do you want me to do something to that urchin?
He's out the door by now.
I can follow him.
He's scarpered off.
You know, my character just follows him.
You're going outside alone?
Yeah, as soon as I get outside, I turn to the urchin. And
Leading the party, are you?
as soon as I get outside,
What is that
It
first
didn't work out
rule
well
I
for Will Wheaton, that's all I'm saying.
Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton. I turn to the urchin.
18 availed him not.
I turn to the urchin and say, "Stop right there, citizen."
He really thinks he's a cop. Oh boy.
This is gonna be interesting.
So, to the urchin,
He puts on a burst of speed and heads south out the door. Or out the door, he'd head south, which would be down on the map.
uh,
There is another...
Paladin is gonna get himself into trouble.
yeah. No, I'm not gonna chase this guy anymore. I'll walk back in. So, I go back to Donald's character. Was there anything suspicious about the guy? Like, why are you trying to get our attention to this guy? To that guy?
Had a bit sticky fingers, that's all.
You trying to steal something from you?
Tip jar.
Oh, alright.
There. Character name is now on Roll20. There we go.
Mournforth?
So there's roughly the shape of the building.
Would you like to press charges?
Not my problem.
Alright. Oh, he's trying to take the bar's tip jar? I guess we talking to the bar person.
I kind of lean forward on my hand a little bit. Yes.
Huh. Okay, I gotta talk to that girl at the Shady Pass. I say, hey, do you want to press charges against that urchin who tries to steal the tip jar?
Tried to.
What do you mean, the Sultana?
Yeah, Sultana. Girl at the Shady Pass.
Well, no, she just is of shady complexion.
Sure.
Yes, but she has one of those
Middle
names that
Eastern-ish
implies that it's
looking.
not a. She has one of those names where no one calls her by her actual name, which implies a shady past.
Yeah.
Sultana, like, that urchin tried to steal the tip jar. Would you like to press charges?
She giggles and waves a hand dismissively in the air and goes back to work.
Yeah, if nobody else cares, I'm not gonna care either. How much money do I have? How much does alcoholic beverages cost here? I'm asking out a question because I'm pretty sure my character should know.
They have really, really cheap, crappy stuff, or you can get like the really, really nice elven stuff if you want to pay out the wazoo for it.
I do not want to pay out the wazoo.
That sounds painful.
Yes, it could be.
Just saying.
So I gather I motion for all the shady people in the room, i.e. the party members, to gather around, and I offer to buy them all a drink.
I glare at the paladin and I completely turn them down. I don't even look in their general direction.
Meh. Why not?
There we go. I don't think I know your name yet. So.
Listen check. Listen check. Give me a listen check.
Okay.
The perception here.
Another one.
Oh!
Going around. I'm
And
taking
that-
10.
Nice.
Screw it.
I'm at 20. So what do I hear?
20. 17, okay.
I'll take 10 for a 14. I'm not even gonna bother.
Okay.
I hear the Eye of Sauron.
Wrong timing.
There's the owl calling you name.
Actually, do not see. Is it just under perception again?
Yeah, it's perception.
Yeah, if you don't,
Okay.
some people have bonuses to listen in particular, but
Ah, no.
Otherwise,
I don't have that.
okay.
I have no idea.
Okay, so everyone hears
thought it
from
was
the kitchen
special.
a loud clump, sort of like a door hitting a wall, sort of a noise. Some loud swearing, some coughing, some choking noises,
I spring into action.
running feet, heading through the north through the kitchen, and out towards the back door.
Do I know the people running out? Because I'm local
And
here.
then you hear secondary voices going like, "Ugh," sort of not sounding happy at all.
Wait, do I recognize the people running out?
If you're looking through like the open areas that serve as the doorways between the kitchen and the bar, yes, you see Ren scarpering out towards the door. Were he a cartoon character, he would be surrounded by green squiggly lines. As he's
Okay.
running out the back, and then you see Dottie and, well, you don't see Tina because she's too short, and the Sultana sort of running out through the doors back into this room, because like the thick black line is like the bar itself.
Oh yeah.
So they're running out here and they're waving their hands in front of their faces.
Something smells.
Okay, I run up to one of them and says, "What's going on?"
Darn it, I should have had Ren be the one come to the bar.
There's a problem in the basement, sir.
What kind of problem? Why you call me sir?
You're a customer.
Yeah, but I'm also a woman.
Sorry, yes you are, sorry.
Ma'am. Problem in the kitchen, ma'am.
What problem? What's going on?
Something wrong downstairs. I don't know what it is, but smells horrible.
Alright, I charge downstairs.
I calmly drop the large brown bag next that I've carried around me, and two little creatures that look kind of like golems made of hay pop out. And I just kind of look at everybody else and I go, I think we should go look.
Eh.
Yeah, I think
I'll
why
just
not?
quietly get up and head that direction too.
you said downstairs, correct?
The lightest way to get back there would be to go through the door
Screw that.
south of the stage, and then around through the door from the stairwell into the kitchen. One could potentially attempt to hop the bar as well.
I'm not gonna hop the bar. I'm just gonna like go through the door.
Yeah,
The
because the
doorway.
squares are the squares are essentially 10-foot squares, so it's not like it's a long way.
So as I'm walking, I pull out my sword.
I'll do the same.
So when you get into the kitchen, you notice the orange, yellowy orange square I did there. That is open. It's a trap door on the floor.
Okay.
Seems to be a staircase leading down from that trap door. Once you get into the kitchen, you smell a very unpleasant aroma. Somewhat reminiscent of stink bugs, if you've ever had
Hello?
stink bugs in your house. It smells a little bit like
I have no idea.
the chemical they
It
put
should be
in
hanging
natural
up
gas
somewhere.
to make natural gas smell bad.
I think it's hanging up on the kitchen, isn't it? Bye.
Very glad not somehow end up with scent.
Sorry. But, so, I look down the
More glad a little bit. But yeah.
I I look down the trap door. Did you already go over this? What do I see?
Looking down into the trap door. Change the page on the map. You see a. Let me get rid of the bar. That's what it looks like now, and I will draw what's underneath. Clear the drawings. Yoink. Okay. So start with the orange square. Actually, I'll put a. No, I'll do a light gray square for where the trap door roughly is. So the trap door is over top of this square here.
There we go.
There's a ladder leading down from it. Try and do this semi, not horribly. So it does seem to be like some sort of storage area, root cellar, wine cellar, kind of a combo.
Yeah.
So there's lots of shelves on the walls.
Do I see the stink bugs?
You don't see anything that looks buggish at the bottom of the stairs.
But am I getting closer to the smell?
Yeah, the smell is much worse when you're standing overlooking down here.
Oh god.
So I'll just draw what you can see from there. Well, that's probably more than you can see from the top, but that's what. When
Okay.
Presuming you descend the ladder at some point, this
Yeah.
is the shape of the room where the ladder leads.
I slide down the ladder.
Anyone else doing anything? Or is he going
I'll
on his
follow
own?
him.
I am
Okay.
following him.
Alright.
I'll follow after them.
So there is. I'm going to do. I'm going to simplify my life. I'm going to do. What color do you guys want for doors? How about yellow? No,
Yellow works.
Orange. I'll do orange. I'm just going to draw lines for the doors rather than draw a wall and then draw a door. So there's a door there, and a door there. Both of which seem closed. And oh, let me check. And yes, a listen check from anyone who's at the bottom of the ladder.
I assume that would be everybody after we've all made the statement, right?
Yeah. Well, unless you know you did. In case you're saying, "Wait, I'm going to stay at the top for the or something." Yeah.
I got 14.
Alright.
I got 22.
Nice. 11. So Kendrick hears a scurrying, scratchy, draggy sort of a noise coming from the north. Presumably behind the door.
I sort of point it out and very quietly tell everybody else.
What kind of sounds? A screeching noise?
Scraping, scratchy. Something move. A object or creature, which is at least somewhat rigid in nature. Either moving or being moved across a hard surface.
I open the door.
Oops. Color back in here.
If he heads over to the door, I'm gonna get into a position to strike at something.
Yeah, when he starts moving towards the door, I use one of my racials, change shape.
I start.
Fangs.
I move towards the back, and I have my little, and I have the little hey dolls fan out to the sides of me.
Now the door opens. The smell seems. The quality of it's a bit different. It seems more. It's not worse, but it does it does smell. Maybe muskier would be one way to describe it.
Ew.
Do I know of any like way? Wait. Will my character know this place exists?
Yeah, this is like this storage area.
Okay. Will my
Like
character
fruit cellar, wine cellar.
will my character have any idea of any ways this thing could have gotten down here? Like it
potentially something could have gotten in by having been in one of the sacks of food that was brought down here. Something could have tunneled in from the outside. And there's another door a bit further north, but don't worry about that. It's more storage space and it is not of significance, so I'm not lamenting that it doesn't fit on the map.
Okay, well I keep heading towards the smell and the sound.
Fine. So is everyone moving into the room to the north, or is some people staying behind, or
I'm staying with
is everybody
Ballard.
going? Is there a way to put markers on the map for where you guys are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We would need. This is where we really needed to have tokens, actually.
Yeah, I can put tokens on the ground.
Okay.
That
Just
represent
that way everyone could move their tokens rather than me
Yeah.
asking all the time. Not that I mind, it just...
Well,
if we have the technology, we may as well use it, right?
Yeah.
I am gonna follow our resident paladin.
Okay.
By the way, it probably looks funny the way I'm holding my sword. It looks like I'm treating it like a javelin.
Oh, okay.
And given that it's a great sword, that probably looks bizarre.
Yeah, that looks really bizarre.
Does it have like a reverse grip on it?
Kind of.
Yeah, my character looks at you and says, "Have you done this before?"
He just smiles. I just smile.
I just advance slowly with my two dolls to the sides of me.
So I keep heading towards the sound and the smell. Do I see the thing yet?
So you're specifically trying to listen? Then
No.
give me a listen check.
Crap, a nat one.
Well, since I'm behind her, let's see if I hear anything.
Yeah.
Where are your ears?
I'm
Eh,
not
it's
sure.
much better.
I'm not sure she even knows. Meh.
Okay.
What kind of armor is she wearing? Maybe that's appropriate.
Might as well give it a shot.
There you go.
Okay, I just start opening random doors.
Right. You're certain you heard the noise from the west.
Alright, I head west.
Do we stop him and point him to the east before he gets there?
Mournforth, you get the distinct impression
That he's being an
that
idiot?
it's now behind you somehow. But the
Okay.
noise is
Wait.
fainter. The noise is fainter, but it does seem to be coming from back the way you came.
Alright, I turn around and head
That
the
way.
I start heading towards the right way. I open the doors.
So
I
that would
about-
take you back into the room where the ladder was.
I about face and reposition the dolls.
There's only one door out of that room, so let's try that away. Worst
Okay.
case, they have in walls.
Mournforth, give me an int check, please. Or wisdom, if you prefer.
Wait, who's getting a what check?
Mournforth is giving me a int or wisdom check, whichever he would prefer.
I would most certainly prefer wisdom. So.
Okay.
Incidentally, if it would help, may I make a knowledge engineering check?
That might come up in a moment.
Haha, well, I have that to see.
16? The noise you think you heard, you think was closer than the other door in the first room. Let's do this.
The room's full of stuff, right?
Yeah, there's shelves. I'm just putting numbers here so we can. Okay, room number 1 and room number 2. Yes. So you entered in room number 1. You heard a noise to the north. You went into room number 2, and Nathan's character.
Eschaton?
Ascaton is convinced that she heard something to the west of number 2. However, Mournforth seems to be indicating that he thinks it is back towards room number 1 and closer than the other door out of that room.
So let's
Talk about this
start
door?
checking shelves. Whatever it is must be small.
Yes, closer than that door.
Okay, so
Could it
I
be
go
rats?
Somewhere between where 1 and 2 are on the map. Would
I'm gonna roll
be
another.
where the noise came from. Although it was much quieter the second time.
I'm gonna roll another perception check. Got a 16.
16. You're not hearing the noise at the moment.
Do I see anything off, like scratching on the floor, scratches
No.
on the walls?
No.
Let's start looking
It's
around
presumably
for
somewhere
signs
in
of
this
rats.
general vicinity, so let's start going through shelves.
Alright, so my character starts looking through the shelves.
Alright.
So
Probably
she's looking
crawling
through the
among
shelves. I'm gonna
goods.
look around on the floor and in and around stuff on the floor and around the shelves.
Don't suppose anyone here is Red Skull or Great Pleasant.
Actually, you know
not.
what? I'm gonna put up a detect magic.
Okay. No, there's a scene in that where they're supposed to be looking for clues. And the character's like, "What are we looking for?" He was like, "I don't know. What are you looking for? Maybe footprints." And then they end up getting the giggles, and so then the other people are like, "What are you laughing at?" Like, "Oh, I thought I found a clue, but it turns out it was just some more floor." That's what was going through my head.
Alright, we're looking through the shelves. Did we find anything?
I'm trying to find the appropriate die here. Too many dice and or not a large enough die pouch anymore. I don't want a D30.
You can use the generated one, and we can all see the roll.
Well, yeah, that's sort of
I think there's a hidden roll option there too.
I think there is.
yeah. Well, I have a big bag of dice that I've had for, I don't know, 30 years, so I might as well use those.
I lost my original dice. I have like one of them, maybe two of them left.
I have most of the original set of polyhedrons I got in my very first basic D&D box set.
I never inked mine.
Oh no, with the little crayons? Yeah, I used to have a couple different colors of the crayons. And now they are come that way. It's like, oh man, that was fun putting the crayons on and then wiping it off. So you could try and make out what number it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Sometimes they were kind of blurry.
Okay, do we find anything?
You find some interesting looking food items, but you don't find anything that seems to have generated noise at all. No.
I am going to roll perception again.
What about smell? Does the smell, is it stronger or weaker in various areas?
It's more pungent. Well, it was more pungent in room 2 when you first entered it, although it does seem to be changing to seem more like what it smelled like in room 1 and what it smelled like in the kitchen upstairs.
So it's possible that whatever it is may have actually gone back into room 1. I'm gonna cautiously approach the door between the 2 rooms.
Okay.
Is it a door that's just a swinging door, or does it have a handle?
It's meant to keep rats and things from having free run of the place. So it does close snugly, but it's not. This particular one isn't actually locked.
So it's not something I could just nudge open with my foot.
It would be. You probably could. It's probably gonna make. Well, it's not too heavy for you to be able to do that, but it would not be silent.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not worried about silent. I just don't want to let go of my weapon. But yeah, so I'll nudge it open and start.
I mean, if you want to prop it open, there's lots of things around. You could just stick it in the way of the door, so it stays open.
I'm just wanting to look.
Why would the door be closed? Did somebody close it when we went through?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. If it was an ordinary door, doesn't just usually just sit still. Most buildings, especially if they've aged, I would assume it would be.
They tend to
wide open.
Yeah, it is intentionally or unintentionally at such an angle that if left open, it will eventually close itself. If it's not propped open with something. Just because people are coming in and out, but you can push it open by bumping into it. So for people with their hands full moving around.
That's basically what I'm going to do. I'm look in there and see if as I start to open it, is the smell coming in worse from that room now?
It still seems fresher, I guess we could call it, in room 2 than in room 1.
Okay, so obviously we don't see it looking through the things that could potentially give a smaller creature cover. And we don't see it standing in the room. I'm going to listen to the floor. Any chance it's under us?
And I'm going to look up at the ceiling.
Well, the ceiling is the ceiling here is the floor of the kitchen, essentially. There's struts and such, so it wouldn't seem probable that it's between you and the ceiling. Listening to the floor. Oh, there it is. Give me a listen check, and I will give you 20. Okay. I was going to give you a bonus as well for actually having your ear on the floor. You don't hear anything at the moment. Actually, for that, I will give you. You do hear a faint bit of noise coming from due west of where you are. So where's the thing where I can make a little blip? Hold on, I'll give you. Being and assuming you're going to be sharing this information with the party.
Of course.
You seem to be hearing a noise from somewhere around. There.
You just click the map.
There. Noise seems to be coming from around there.
Okay, I open this door.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we have our. Second to draw in some more tidbits here.
You're thinking about it, we actually should be closing the doors as we go through, just so that whatever it is would either have to go through the doors or wouldn't go from room to room.
Grr. Grr. Game is being a butt. And there's one up here. Let's call this room 3. Oh, and then there's, yeah, it's the same to the north. It's a pattern. So you go through into the room to the west, or the door to the west, and it reveals a room that looks very similar to the room you were already in. Different crap on the shelves, but it's the same pattern.
Open this door.
Okay. Let me give you...
I think this is just a file and a little behind. With the dolls at my sides.
I'm noticing a pattern.
Ah, sorry, that, ignore that. It goes that way. Yes, there is a pattern. Oh, snarf. I'm making a mess. Hold on. Go undo this. Hard. Hold on. Start over. There, use that to block it out. Okay. Sorry. That's the same, essentially the same pattern.
I still don't see anything. I'm gonna roll a perception check to see or notice anything or smell anything. I rolled a 17.
Thermal machine. Grr. It's much easier. Plasticized paper. So this is going to be 4. And the doors are in the same central spots as well. Goes in. So you rolled a. Are you looking for things or listening for things or?
Yeah, I'm just trying to listen for anything that could lead me to where this creature is.
You're not hearing any suspicious sounds as such. Are you standing essentially where the door is? Where's the
Yes.
bloopy?
Right here. I just opened the door.
What do I use to create one of those?
You just you left click.
Oh, okay.
You double
Right,
it.
so you're here? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you just hold left click.
That's giving me an edit option. Yeah, you're not. You personally haven't heard the noise where the red noise word is. You haven't heard that. But, yeah, if you're looking at, you're not detecting, and you don't detect any noise or see anything you would not expect to see at this point.
Nice. I say we go back upstairs, pretend nothing happened, and if we hear it again, then we'll come back. 'Cause right now we have no clues as to where this thing is.
Obviously, since it's not anywhere visible to us, and it's also likewise not in amongst any of the shelving or any of that, it has to be in the walls. It's the only thing that makes sense. Some sort of horrible dire termites or something.
Termites.
My character is gonna go upstairs and ask permission to start busting holes in the wall, see if we see anything.
May I roll a knowledge engineering
Before-
on these walls?
Well, he's wondering if to do that. I want to listen at the wall that is in the center area there.
As you're doing that, You hear...
Hold on, quick. I have work at 4. I have to drive out of town to get to it, so I'm gonna have to bow out for now. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll keep the recording going, so if you guys, whatever you guys are doing, it'll still be recorded.
Okay.
I'm just gonna mute my mic.
Sure.
We'll see you guys.
Take care, man.
See ya.
Yeah.
So there is a new noise. Sounds like something being knocked over. Seems to be coming from, based on what you can hear, seems to be coming... Now, were you guys leaving the doors open or closing them behind you? That's going to be significant.
I think we were closing them behind us, unless
Okay.
anybody objected to my suggestion.
I didn't.
Alright. Well, if you're making a point of closing them behind you, and no one else making a point of not are leaving them open, then they're going to be closed. So that seems to be a noise coming from... Well, if you're standing at the doorway... How do I ping it? I just get an editing option when I right-click on it.
You press and hold left click without a tool. Like that.
There. Well, how do I untool? Ah, sorry. So yeah, if you're standing at the door between rooms 3 and 4, it's the noise or close to that. It's going to be coming from the north and or the east. Seems to be the source of the noise.
I'm still dead set on the idea that it's something in the walls.
Yeah, that knowledge engineering check is starting to sound pretty good there. I can do that. I actually have
I'll give it a shot.
points in that.
Start hunting for secret doors or something.
Okay, I'm just
Somebody's put a shelf in front of a doorway or some bullshit.
You would anticipate that the honeycomb-esque nature of these chambers could well be influencing where the perceived origin of the noise is in some manner.
I ostensibly relay that to the party by saying the design of this chamber, the design of this area is messing with the noise.
Could always smoke them out.
I don't know if we want to mess up all the supplies in here to do that.
Yeah. Listening to the floor seemed like a good idea previously. That might actually help. If it's
I'll try
done
that
more
again.
than once. Yeah.
I'll try that again.
Okay.
Listening to
So
the floor.
listening checks all round, actually. Oh, so Morn got to 21. Alrighty. So, Morn, you hear, let's call it a movement of air, and then a decent amount of scurrying and then some scratching that seems to be coming from somewhere around. So you're here. Somewhere to the northeast, let's call it, of the door over here.
So somewhere to the northeast of here.
Yes. It's a faint noise, but it is now a continual noise. It's still going on. There's still a swishy, scrapey sort of a noise coming from that direction.
Maybe we should search this area more carefully.
Can't I do that?
You could. Just on the menu thing at the top left of the tools, set it
Yeah.
to select/move.
Okay.
Basic arrow thing. Then press and hold left click.
I just get an edit thingy popping up. Hold on.
Make sure it's set to the cursor.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Yes.
Got it.
Somewhere over here.
Oh, it's over in that direction.
Yeah.
It's not. It's
All right.
farther away. Okay.
I say we bloody book it. What do you all think?
Split. Go at it from both sides. That way it can't possibly flee from us. If it's remotely visible.
Well, I guess it could conceivably go north or east from its current position if we do that, but
Right.
Let's
but
try
it can't circle around.
yeah.
So who wants to go north and who's going east?
I can go east.
I'll take north.
I'll follow behind Morn.
Okay. So our plan is I'm going to come around this way.
Yeah. And I'm gonna come around this way.
Oh, this is one of you going.
We're splitting
Do that.
up and circling
Okay.
around to both the doors so
Split
that
the
it can't
party.
possibly...
And I'm still holding my sword in that funny position.
Okay.
circle.
So you both get to room 2 without encountering anything. However, you can all clearly hear the scratchy noises. And scratchy noises seem to be coming from this door. And you're now detecting some very faint, sort of high-pitched noises intermingled with the scratchy noises. And give me a perception check. And roll higher than 10. Okay. You all detect an increase in the unpleasant smell.
Yay.
And just double checking, so all of the doors are being closed behind you? Still?
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay.
Whatever it is seems to have difficulty with doors. Assuming it's not
Like-
invisible and in front of this door.
Like
but-
the aliens from Science. They couldn't do doors.
I suppose the answer is to move over to the eastern door and prepare to open it. Possibly making sure we're not, there's not something we're not seeing in front of it for some reason.
Yeah.
When you go up to the door, does it sound like the sound is coming from the other side of the door?
It is absolutely coming from the other side of the door, and it is absolutely coming from the bottom of the other side of the door. And it is quite distinct and loud at this point. It might even be actually getting it might seem to be getting louder because you're getting closer, or it might actually be getting louder. In addition to it's louder because you're closer.
Okay.
All right. Somebody want to throw open the door, and if we can see it, I'll pounce on it.
Can kick open the door.
I tried to keep the pattern simple because I didn't know what if any access I would have to being able to make a map for you guys. So if anybody the party wanted to map it, I tried to keep it
Well, that works.
not obnoxious for the purposes of mapping.
I'm just going to try to position in room 2 to give my dolls a little bit of room to see, to draw lines to the target as best I can.
So you guys are stood approximately here. Is that correct? And everyone's
Basically.
approximately there? Okay.
I'm roughly over here.
Oh, okay. So in the middle of the room? Alright.
With my dolls basically on either side.
Now let's take the bull by the horns and call this room 5. There we go. So the level of the noise has not seemed to increase while you've been standing here the last few moments. However, the unpleasant aroma seems to have gone up a notch or two.
When we open the door, can we see it?
So you are opening the door?
Yeah.
When she opens the door, I'm literally going to, if it's in front of me, I'm going to immediately pounce on it. I'm in position.
So, describe the way you want to open the door. Do you want? Are you pulling it or pushing it?
Kick it.
So you're kicking it. Well, obviously, you're
Yeah.
kicking it forward already. So
Actually,
as
that's the
Yeah,
interesting
still
question of
open
which
that way,
way does it open?
it can swing in either direction.
Okay, yeah, then I'll shove it with my foot.
In fact, sorry. In the interest of not having to stop in the middle of something once it started, I'm going to run quickly to the bathroom now. So I'll be right back. Sorry.
Alright. I'll be right back too then.
Huh.
Sorry about that. I am back.
Okay.
So you push the door open, or kick the door open.
Well,
There.
is
Change in plan.
and that's like I don't know if Hannah's here. Is she here?
Oh. Did she make a pit stop too?
I think
Yes.
she may have. Yes.
Okay.
No joke. I'm starting to burn out a bit. Let's. I don't. Hopefully this is where this little jaunt has results.
Well, I can assure you there is something on the other side of the door. That's what you're wondering.
And very quickly, it will be separated into multiple smaller somethings.
Well, the fact is, this terrain completely goes against what I'm good at with this character. So it takes all the cumbersome. It really brings this character's weaknesses to the forefront right out of the gate.
I take it you don't do well with confined spaces.
Well, here's the problem. I equipped both of these dolls with a ranged weapon, but because of the lines of fire and cover, I can't actually get a good shot with any of them.
I take it they don't have precise shot.
They won't be having that for a while.
I'm back.
Oh, WB.
Yes, welcome.
So you kick the door open, which initiates a chorus of shrill squeaking noises, and then about a half dozen rats
I knew
come scurrying from behind the door, and there are several that went flying when you kicked the door open who are now bolting in this direction again. And the level of the unpleasant aroma went up about 6 notches as you opened the door. And if anyone would like to make a wisdom check, then you'd only have to roll 5 or higher. So I think some of you
Okay.
that might be an automatic success.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, you cleverly deduce that the rats are probably fleeing whatever's making the horrible smell. Because rats have particularly sensitive noses.
I'm looking past the rats to see if I can see anything else in the room.
And they are just normal rats. And they come, scurrying into this room, and they sort of just scatter and go into under the shelves and whatnot once they get into room 2. Now, you don't see anything animate in the room. There are some knocked over containers.
Okay.
That seem out of place, and int check or wisdom check from anyone who feels like making one.
Okay, give me wisdom.
Jeez.
The knocked over things seem to have been very recently knocked over by someone running through this room from the door to the south.
Okay.
Which would be whoever originally fled the bar, more than likely.
Yes, that would have been Ren, who had come down here. Most probably would have, based on,
So knocked over
I can
things-
assure you in no uncertain terms it was Ren who knocked this stuff over. How exactly you glean that information, I leave at your discretion. Yes, you get a distinct impression that is what happened.
Which means Ren was fleeing something from the door to the south, so...
Yes.
And
Same thing we
so-
did for the last door, get in position?
Yep.
Yeah, get ready to preach. I'm gonna go ahead and position around the center of room 5 then.
Aye. There you go. I'm just going to draw in what will inevitably become room 6, so I might call it something else just for variety.
When I was DMing, if I needed to make net reference to areas and listed them on the map, I picked random numbers.
Yeah, I was thinking we just
Specifically
call
so
it
that
room 22.
specifically so that so that the players had no idea, because sometimes they won't go through to the expected order.
Well, I'm not using the numbers I have for them on my map. So I'm just
Right.
numbering them as order of appearance.
Well, I would use the same numbers,
Six-
simplify reference, but I would
673.
pick random
Yeah.
numbers, so they'd be like, wait, we went from room 3 to room 7. There must be a 4, 5, and 6 here somewhere,
Yes.
and there may or may not be.
Yeah.
Why does this one have a B on it? What does the B mean?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. There we go. 6. So as you open the door between 5 and 6, the smell gets nastier again. It has again the muskiness of it, musky quality of it seems to be a notch or two higher as well. And there does seem to be a fair bit of mess in room 6. From what you can see from standing at or near the door between 5 and 6.
Yeah,
Does
does
look
it look
like
like
something's
stuff's been
been-
eaten? Or just thrown
The
around?
stuff's been messed with, certainly. Eaten. You can give me spot check if you'd like, as far as the eaten goes.
Which would be perception.
Perception, yeah.
Yep.
Not a terrible idea.
Yes, things have been eaten. It doesn't it seems fairly recent as well. The gnawing on it. So it's been something.
Does it look like they were eaten by the rats or something bigger?
Not the rats. No, the way it's been, it looks like things have been pulled open rather than just gnawed open.
Okay. So something with at least some intelligence.
Yeah.
And limbs capable of manipulation
Yes.
Yep.
of things of that size.
Yes. Yeah, there's no the size of the scratching and the clawing is on the smaller end of things. Like a person might have done it with like a dagger or something like that, or some sort of tool about that size. So it could have been like some of the kids might have got down here and were rummaging around for food. Although why they would have bothered to come all the way this far rather than just grabbing something from the first room might be a good question. But yeah, like things on the higher shelves haven't been messed with. It's things on like the bottom of 2 or 3 shelves seem to have been what's been pulled down and tinkered with.
That and
And can we tell which direction this room was entered from?
You can give me a wisdom or perception check, whichever you would prefer for that.
perception is always going to be higher. So
Yeah,
Always better
mine's
than the
not that
ability
great.
check.
Well, not. I think
Yeah.
people can have their perception be something other than wisdom if they want it. Probably feats to do that. I'm guessing.
But just in general, if a skill check is offerable, it's the superior option to the ability check. So,
Now, it seems like things that shouldn't necessarily be stored in this room have been dragged in here, based on the loose organizational patterns you've seen in the previous chambers. So it's
What's
like
that?
this is where stuff was being brought.
Does it look like things have been dragged out of here at all? Into
No,
maybe
just
the south
in.
and east? Okay.
Things are just dragged in here from.
Is there a central area where it looks like things are being stashed?
Near the middle of the room, to a certain degree.
Okay, I'm gonna listen to see if it sounds like there's anything moving around in here in corners or anything that we maybe can't see.
what sort of things are being piled up in the center?
It may have been a
I'm deaf.
remedial attempt to perhaps organize and sort materials. It's not particularly well organized or particularly well sorted. It could potentially just be a random pattern. But it does seem vaguely like maybe someone was trying to organize things.
Alright, I'm just gonna go ahead and take
There's
a
a-
step into the room.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
one
so
step into the room.
the mess seems to sort of be most significantly right around here. Where the 6 is vaguely where things kind of sort of seem to have been quasi-organized. Yeah, there seems to be a bit. The most of the mess is right around here.
I'm gonna cautiously go over there to look closer at it, see if I can see anything. But I'm gonna stay aware of the rest of the room.
Okay. So what's everyone else doing as far as their location?
I'll move in close to Kendrick, but not
Okay.
not going to take part of the search or anything.
So still in the hallway or actually in the room itself?
In the room proper, I'm just in case something goes wrong.
Hereish?
That'll work.
Okay. And Mirren is...
she is still kind of hanging back. She's trying to, like, if something were to pop out, she wants to be in position with at least one of the dolls to take a shot at it.
Okay. So Hereish? Like sort of back by the door? More or less?
More or less.
Okay. So... hold on, let me check something in my book. Because I can't actually... like... I'm sure there are people who know, but I can't exactly just say, hey, what about blah? Because it's gonna... There we go. Sorry, I just wanted didn't think to look up this specific thing previously, and I should have. Um, all right, so it's just a it's just a perception check. Looks like. So everyone who's actually in room 6, which I think would just be 2 of you, give me a perception check.
Yet another.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
worked
That one's at least
perception
better
check,
than the
yeah.
last one.
Okay. So okay. So you notice that things seem to have been being arranged from the messy area. So it looks like whoever was or whatever was arranging things had been dragging. How do I do that little the little radial line with the distance on it?
It's a little tool about 4 down that looks like a ruler.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so
Do
things.
this?
Okay, yeah. So things seem to have been. You get the idea. The marks on the floor seem to be indicating that things. Is that showing up on your guys' screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So everything seems to be sort of coming like this.
Yeah, if you want to change the color, if it's too light, click on like where your name is at the where your
The
I don't
bottom?
know if you have icon. Yeah, there's a
There's a little.
Oh, okay.
little square of color. If you click on that,
Oh, okay.
it lets you select.
Okay. So yeah. So things
I
seem to have
changed
been.
mine to purple.
This is the impression of the movement of objects.
Okay.
Seems to be like this.
So it's all vaguely toward the middle. It's all vaguely
Yeah.
toward like this square right here, which is
Yes.
what I'm approaching. Now, can I
Yes,
see
that seems
the
to be
square?
the target location for the collected goods.
All right. Then there's not anything in that square right now.
It does not seem to be anything other than just shelves in that area.
Well, I wonder. Would a knowledge engineering give me an idea if the structure there is different than it is in the rest of, like, if there's something different about that shelf that would indicate
It's
maybe
certainly worth a shot. Yeah, give that a shot.
something behind it, a secret door, a hole? Okay.
Might I assist in that?
Oh well, that sucks.
Yeah, if you want to come into the
Fine.
room, yeah, you can add your.
I have no
your
idea.
asset to that.
It looks like
I'll
ordinary stuff to me.
I'll slowly move in and give it a shot.
Okay.
At this point, I will have already looked away from it, and I'm looking to see if it looks like anything recently went down any of the other two, towards the other two exits from the room, besides what came in. Because I'm sure I've looked at it and assumed there's nothing and moved away because I rolled a 1.
So, let me check my big map here. Everyone, give me a listen/perception check.
Oh, the knowledge check didn't do anything?
Well, this might take precedence. Yeah, the 20 for Kendrick. Yes, will give you a distinct impression that something about this section of wall. Whoops, wrong tool. This section of wrong tool again. Dang it. This section of wall here is a bit wonky. However, oh, sorry, what was the perception check? We have a 17 and a 20?
Yeah.
Okay. You hear scratchy, not the rat noise, not a scurry noise, but more of a scrapey, scratchy noise, quickly approaching from behind the door that is south of you.
Alright, I'm gonna get ready for something to come through that door then.
Okay.
I'm going to press against the wall.
And again,
Here?
I'm gonna look really weird, because I look like I'm about ready to throw my sword. Launch it like a javelin.
Basically,
I can't imagine he's gonna throw it any
Hold
other
on,
way.
let me put that. I'll put this in Skype. When everyone gets the picture, let me know. I linked it in the on the Roll20 and also on Skype because I tried to click the link on the Roll20 and it was asking me fancy questions.
What an odd-looking creature.
So 3 of those have just pushed open the door to the south. Then they're carrying between them what looks to be a wheel of cheese.
Oh.
They're a little bit smaller than goblins.
They look
And
like
they are-
roaches.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, they are rather. Roach-like in appearance.
How do they react when they see us?
Well, that's when everyone's going to roll an initiative check, and we get to find out who noticed. Well, you guys aren't going to be surprised.
Right.
Roll that in here.
That sucks.
Oh, one trip. Okay. So you get they did not notice you, and are now staring at you, rather shocked. So you guys have an ish.
Where are they positioned in this room?
They just come through this door here.
There's a lot of sardine canning going on in here.
Yeah.
There's nary a firing line or even enough space for multiple people to swing a sword in sight. Hey.
It's a nice color for them. I'll do them. No, I can't use that color. I have a nice brown. Here we go. So they're like right here. Yoink. 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 Like that.
Yeah, this is operating entirely out of everything I'm familiar with involving sizes.
So they're small, right?
Or maybe even the one down. I forget what the exact limits for small are. There might be
Generally
is tiny
speaking-
the one below it.
Yes, tiny may be the one below. Small, generally speaking, is still enough to account as their own square for the most part. They still have the normal kind of reach. Tiny is to the point that they have no physical reach. They have to be inside the same square as the opponent, as far as I'm aware.
They probably would count as small. I'm just putting them there to give you a rough idea of approximately where they are.
It's a lot of them.
There's 3.
Well, Shad, did you hit your initiative yet? Shad is not in the chat.
Did he?
Must have crashed, I guess. I didn't
Shad?
notice when he disappeared.
Okay, so Shad has crashed.
I would guess, because he's not in the D20 that either. So.
Huh.
Should we hold for a moment until he is to see if he can reconnoiter?
Yeah, give him a minute or two to come back.
Alright.
Can try calling him back, too.
He's not even showing us online.
Oh, jeez.
Not really.
Is it possible that he had a power outage?
Might have been.
Is there a weather issue that...
It was really thundery here last night, I know.
I don't know. Frankly, I'm surprised I'm still working at it. I'm halfway to... I've been up all day, pretty much, so...
Oh.
Yeah, I thought we were going at 12. I don't know why, but I thought we were, so I stayed up. So I've been up since, what, 3, 4?
Oh, the loop is back.
I'm a little out of it, too. I came off of a double shift this morning after 3 hours of sleep and got another 4 or 5 hours of sleep and then got up to game. Like it says on my Twitter profile, insomnia is my superpower. Had somebody take that seriously.
I'll take almost anything seriously. Oh, wait, is he back? He's back in D20. Is he back in Skippy? Can he access the call directly, or do we need to... Oh, is he back in? He's back in the call.
Yay!
I think.
Woo!
Hello?
Oh, his net went out. Are you back? Sorry, at what point in hello?
Can you hear us, Shadrach?
Hello.
Testing. Okay.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
No. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
That makes sense, Marcia. Let me check my Skype. Let me restart Skype
Okay.
entirely.
Oh, here it is. Okay. So I have named these creatures. If after encountering them, people have name suggestions that I like better, I will use said name suggestion. So I will keep working name
There you go.
secret until after that.
Someone care to say something?
Hello, hello.
Big
Hello?
pernicious cockroaches.
Can you hear us, Major Tom?
Oh, let me try
No.
something else.
That's weird. We can hear him and he can't hear us. Hold on. Is this regular sound working?
I still can't hear you guys, no. Let me try something else to try to fix it. Yes, my regular sound is working.
Oh, okay.
Strangely enough.
Très bizarre.
I'll try something else. That's why I get the moment.
This could be anything. If the computer crashed or something, it could be instead of Skype, it could be the actual sound settings on the computer. computer are no longer recognizing what, I don't know if he's using headphones or speakers, but whichever he's
Yeah.
using. I've had that happen to
it's
me.
changed to the other one, yeah.
Where it like, for some reason, upon restarting, the computer has shut off. Like, it's gone to a default that isn't something that's actually hooked up. And so I have no sound at all, or I have no microphone at all, or my webcam won't work, or whatever.
Alright.
Can you hear us now?
Hello? Can you hear us?
Okay, I still can't hear you guys. I'm just gonna have to restart my computer entirely, I think.
Oh, poor guy.
This will just take
You
a
have to
moment.
love when this stuff happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joys of technology.
Yeah. And computers can only do things the way they're told. They're
Yes.
programmed. They're set up.
Exceptionally obedient creatures.
Yes. And unfortunately, if you don't fully understand what you're telling it to do, like me,
Yeah.
you mess up a lot.
Yeah.
When I first started using computers, I knew quite a bit, fairly well, and over the years I got really, really lazy about keeping up with the details of how it ticks. And it didn't help that the majority of computers I used prior to getting married were Apple. So I had mostly Macintosh computers for about 10 years. Maybe more. They're intended for you to not worry about how they tick.
Yep.
Liken them to point-and-click cameras. Point-and-shoot cameras, point-and-click computers.
Okay, so some tiny creatures have a 2.5-foot space with a 0 normal reach. Smalls have 5-foot space and a 5-foot reach. Okay.
What about Biggie Smalls?
Well, I know there are feats that allow creatures to fit more themselves in squares too.
Yeah,
That's goblins have that. I know they
The
can sardine
elevator
themselves
feet.
into little spaces. Yeah.
I'm just staring at this and I'm just like, these little douchebags. We can barely fit one person in a freaking square. I can't get a clean shot for anything. Like, even if I was a ranger, I can't get I can only barely get a clean shot. I'm just like, and trying to cross the melee, that would be 4 people. It's a mosh pit. We don't even have enough squares for that. So, little roach baskets.
They may be too small for me to throw at.
Nah, you can still take shots at them. It's just
It lands on it and smashes it.
It's got a heck of a bonus depending on actually how small they really are. That's size does toy with their actual armor as well as the size of your weapons.
So I actually need to look that up because I count as a medium. Are they small or are they tiny?
I would say they're at the low end of small.
They are definitely having some ability to hide in each other's spaces then. Well, okay. Well, if they're that small, they get a minor benefit to their AC then, just for that. Also means they're a slightly bit more accurate.
online book gives damage for small and medium.
It mostly affects the individual damages for their weapons as well as their size. Smaller creatures are more accurate, but don't hit as hard and are harder to hit.
So it's basically the damage I do basically is what that is, right? It doesn't.
No,
it doesn't change.
your damage doesn't change. Their damage does.
Yeah.
To put it into perspective.
I mean, the damage I do. I actually haven't fought anything that's a vastly different size than me. Or rather than medium in quite a while. So I haven't had to pay attention to that in quite a while, and I cannot remember. Do you do more damage to smaller creatures?
No, you don't.
No, they're slightly harder to hit,
Okay.
but that's usually calculated into their AC.
Yeah.
So my damage is still going to be the same. That's good.
Yes.
Don't worry about that. It's just what I roll to hit is going to be targeting a slightly higher AC.
Yep. Size benefit.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Apparently, one of our missing party members is homesick. He's got a message.
Oh,
They've lost their voice. So.
oh, that sucks. I have heard that is going around.
She's getting some chicken soup.
Chicken soup is always a good bet. Good bet.
Yeah.
I have something typed in wrong here.
Okay, I'm back.
WB.
Thanks.
Oh, I think I see Shadrach being back online. So
Yay.
should be joining us shortly, I would hope.
To be honest, I hope we solve this and soon because I really do feel like I'm holding together with crit stick right now.
Okay.
I've actually
You're gonna crash.
I've half nodded off
Yeah.
a few times.
Well, after these three, we can put a bookmark in and then wait for when Nate's available too.
Not like I want to hold anybody back, but it has been counting the preset time. It's been over 3 hours.
Yeah.
And nothing against that, but.
When you're really wiped out.
Yeah, everything takes longer. Perception-wise, everything takes longer.
Yeah, I suppose. Anyway, I can definitely say this. I know one of the weak spots of this class I'm dealing with now.
Oh.
For sure. Yeah. They don't do well in confined squares. That's two things they're not very good at. Shed just sent me a message. She's saying his internet's going sideways. It's not sure how long it's going to take.
Oh. Well, we could put a bookmark in it now, I suppose.
There we go.
Or we could, if he can get back on, you guys can fight the first 3 of the things. Not that I am indicating there are more than 3. Oops.
I'm asking him if he wants to just pretty much to just hold on until next time. I pointed out that you just take that as an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause no joke, I've got an appointment I have to handle in a little bit, and once that's done, I am completely falling out.
Well, that way too, right? Then we're not Nate's not getting left out, and Lita's not missing out either.
Now there's Mason, if we can find him as well.
Yeah, we can find out what happened to him. Yeah. Well, it's sort of one of the reasons why I thought it would be best to start with more urban stuff, because it's easier to start and stop in the middle, and logistically not having, somebody down to like 2 hit points and the healer out of spells. It's like, well, we can just put them on the stretcher and carry them off to the temple, and and get them healed up and bring them right back.
Yeah.
Which is not as easy to do if you're like in the middle of the wilderness.
No, that's entirely true.
Yeah.
That said, Chad was asking to relay that message. He's now gone offline again. He didn't reply yet. So I don't know what's going on there. But I will say,
if he's getting the thunderstorm we had here last night, he could be having, because it was like thundered for hours and hours last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this was definitely a little note for the books. I overcame the first issue I had with this class, and the second issue rose up. Fun. Yes.
And that in D&D, that's sort of the nature of many of the classes, is that they have like their primary element they're good at, and then a primary element they're poor at, and then varying shades of competency in between.
Yeah, well, the thing about this one is, its first biggest issue I saw was setup time. It needed time each day to connect with the material to make the dolls. This time I had it solved by having a 10-pound bag of hay, ostensibly, that I was carrying around in order to make harvest golems, ostensibly, from like Warcraft, if you get in the drift. And then, so that got me around the issue of setting them up, because I assumed that they were the smallest possible small-sized creatures I could use. So I found an old key to figure out how small the original ones could get from like 3.5, and I figured, okay, I can, at this height and this size, I could put these two in a big enough bag. I mean, they're not that heavy after all, so I did. But now we've hit the other issue, because of how small this dungeon is. Well, how small the cellars are here. I'm not really able to get any one of them a decent arc of fire, which I feeded specifically to give them all the weapon, So it's just like, okay, we're in such space that they can't really get a hold, and we're to the point, once combat meets, they can't really shoot. They don't have like precise shots, so they're saving them for just melee combat. They can't get a good shot. But then the space is so tight, they can't even do melee combat. Same problem. And I'm starting to see that that's an issue with this class. I mean, one thing that can be said of summons, which this class was compared to when I was first given it, was summons can at least be placed in helpful spaces. Like let's say we were fighting and I was a summoner with these little buggers from up behind it. Were coming up where they're placed. I could plant a summon right on their flank, and that would give them, they'd have to either run away from or attack immediately to get through. In this case, I have to position these guys, and trying to figure out where their how their squares would line up based on the sizes of the squares we're being given, and everyone else's positioning, and obviously like a token. It's one of those situations where it's just like I'm just staring at the wall, like, okay, I'm trying to position like this so I have an arc of fire. Oh. If I don't beat on initiative, there's no way I'm going to be get one shot off. Okay. So it's like, yeah, I'm starting to see where the trouble with this one is. I found some circumventions, but some of these are just,
Right. Now, for your class, can all of your constructs only use the one kind of weapon, or could you theoretically swap out their gear at some point? Or
I feasibly can't, because the way it's designed is that I took a feat specifically to give them a specific weapon and trait. Okay. And they now have that trait and weapon, but the next time they get another feat of any level, it wouldn't be until level 3 or 4. Okay. So
I just wasn't curious. Like, is it a situation where you have to give them a weapon when you animate them, and that's their thing, or could potentially you have not necessarily your character specifically, but could a character have a dagger and something else, a short sword?
Yes, you could, assuming you use the system at a different level and you didn't select what I selected. Okay. The argument I made for my build was I wanted to give them a ranged weapon and I wanted to give them a melee weapon. Basically, the way I treat this class is each individual doll is like a natural attack that's mobile and separate from me. So, I basically treat me as a natural attack user that can function at a range, with each individual arm having its own health. That's how I think of the system. It's interesting in theory because every hit is going to be at its highest accuracy, but at the same time, it's got the same issues of a natural attack progression user, in that every time a hand is torn off, I'm going to be doing less damage until the next day, or next time I can actually fix the situation. And normally they have an innate melee attack, but right here, what I would need is a reach weapon. If I had picked this ability at 3rd level, I could give a unit of the doll's crossbows and another unit, say, a long spear, and that would give me reach, which would let them get in on the fun here. But that's the best scenario I can really say. It's just in this situation, neither, I set up for long range and close, but there's too few squares to get close, and there's not enough room to use long range, so. Yeah, this is one of those scenarios where it's just like, okay, this is one of those ones where the class doesn't work as well. They work better the more open the field is, it looks like. Which, that's going to take some consideration. I find it interesting. Still nothing from Shad. Y'all seen him?
He's not showing us online at the moment. Well, Lita's suggestion for a name for these creatures is Buglies.
Buglies?
See, I linked her the picture.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Once I get a couple combat situations under my belt with this class, I'm going to start forwarding combat information to the person who made it. That's why I didn't jump on that artisan thing I was talking about just the other day.
So she has hot tea with lemon and ginger and honey, and has some chicken soup.
Huh.
So hopefully her voice will be back soon.
She lost her voice?
Yeah. Well, she had a really sore throat yesterday.
Ah,
I guess it's her because she has ongoing problems with her tonsils.
fair enough.
So I guess it's gotten really bad today, and she can't even barely talk. So I think I don't know, informed Dark more about the campaign setting than most of the other players, because he had lots of questions.
I had a treasure
So I
trove
was-
worth.
Yeah, I was trying to fill everybody in on some of the stuff I'd let you know.
Funnily enough, most of the stuff I not only that I had already heard it, it didn't really apply to what I was creating in the end anyway.
Yeah.
Gods? Yeah, godless character, or at least Kipper who's not aware of the gods yet.
Yeah, I went over. Well, yeah, you were here when I did the names of the gods for the outer gods.
Well, yeah, but at that point I gotta
Which there
tell you,
is
I
a
was already
methodology
kind of-
to. If you if you scratch at it and poke at it enough, you'll see the pattern.
Yeah, well, it applied way back when I was still caring about making like a necromancer, but
Yeah.
now that we've seen the states in which our wonderful paladin friend will go, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah, I know you're gonna end up listening back to this, Nate. Yeah, yeah.
Going around detecting evil in everybody is not gonna necessarily make you popular.
Lead sheet. I'm pulling a bell car. A lead sheet.
Yeah.
Team C. That.
So I got the majority of my copy of this map is filled in, but I didn't have quite enough time to get everything finished. But
Basically, what happened with me was last night I wasn't aware of what was really going to happen or not, so I just started filling in my sheet, assuming Tiefling, which, as what I am, I'm a particularly aberrant version of one at that. But and then it's like, well, the key attempt is for at least, I don't really mind if this character dies, but I really want to test out the class's mechanics in action, just so I have something to tell the person who made it. It would be nice to finally give somebody some notation about what they've got.
yeah,
But what they actually sat down and tried to do. With and then once that is sufficient, I figure failing anything, I can then drag in the artisan or artificer at a later date if the party continues, which would be great because then it goes from being, moonlighting crafting to woo-yah, we're going. Because I did a lot of research and I bought a lot of stuff. You know what I found today?
what's that?
Magic pants.
There you go.
You wouldn't believe this. You would think
Are they
that they would have done
traveling
this.
pants?
Actually, yes, and also a goblin pod. Yes. Now, what I didn't even realize this, but if you go over the magic slot list, you'll realize that something is conspicuously missing. Pants.
Well.
There is no pants slot. Why?
Yeah.
I'll never know. Well, this book added a
Morrowind
pants
there
slot.
certainly was.
Well, this book added a pants slot, and then it went on to give like 25 examples of what you could put into a pants slot. And it's like, that's actually a really good idea. And I glanced over these. It's like, ooh, these are all really good craft wondrous choices. Ooh, here's pants literally called Happy Pants. I'm not even kidding. They give you a bonus to morale based bonus is we're getting. Then there was
Are there crazy pants?
well, there was parachute pants. And I believe there was. I actually couldn't read the stats. The thing about it is that I found a preview that was the whole book, but it was in such teeny tiny eye strain of vision I couldn't actually read it. So
They give you a bonus when you're using a mall?
I don't know. I wish I could tell you. There's also apparently a magical girl sailor skirt in there somewhere.
Holy moly.
I want that. Actually, I want to know what that does.
That was a very obtuse reference to MC Hammer, by the way.
I'm very I'm very familiar with Hammer Time. You forget I specialize in hammers.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I didn't want to say hammers, that would be too obvious. I went with large malls, but yeah.
Well,
although warhammers are essentially just like regular hammers with a longer handle. It's the weird thing about them.
yeah.
I think it was Scald did a video on how silly oversized weapons in like video games are. And he was like demonstrating with the use of an actual warhammer. Because he was comparing it to Monster Hunter. Because he was talking about like how incredibly, ridiculously ludicrous the weapon sizes in Monster Hunter are.
Yeah.
And how
Okay.
he's perfectly fine with it because it's so incredibly over the top ridiculous that like there's not even a pretense at any, sense of rationality, so he doesn't mind. It's just
Okay,
more
Shad's on Steam via his phone power outage. Or internet outage.
okay, I guess we're gonna
Yeah, let's
bookmark in here.
let's pick this
Well, that's-
up next
Yeah, that's
next
sort of
Yeah.
that's
next
fairer
time.
for Nate too. So
Fair
because
for
Nate's
everybody.
a melee type character, so he's gonna be his oeuvre we're now entering into.
Yeah, no, basically I would just be sitting back and randomly plonking shots hoping to piss
Yeah.
I'd hit something. So that's the sake of that. I don't know what we're gonna do about Nate and his recording. I guess who started the call?
It wasn't me, so it might have been Nate. It probably was Nate, and that's probably why he left himself logged in. Actually.
That's actually a fair point. Well, in that case, since the kit kills the recording, should we just drop the calls?
Yeah, I guess if everyone else logs out, I suppose.
Yeah.
But did anybody have any other questions or anything, or about their characters, or okay?
Yeah, feeling
I'm
anything
starting
got
to
other
flag
stuff
myself.
good.
Just
No.
Yeah.
getting.
It's like anything if you wanted to
Lack of
keep
sleep.
us in.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say lack of sleep is starting to get me.
That's fair enough. Fair enough.
So hopefully we'll get everybody next time. So no one's missed a lot, which is nice.
Yeah.
So it's sort of unfortunate we didn't get more done, but it's fortunate that no one missed a big chunk of stuff, and we'll have a hard time catching up. So.
Yeah.
Grand balance of things. Yeah. So I guess.
Alright.
And I will try very hard to get the rest of the more information and stuff posted in the forums for the players.
Right.
I've been. Real life keeps interfering. Because I don't have anywhere. I don't really have a workspace at home, so I go to the coffee shop to work. And so like the coffee shop was closed for a bunch of days, and then it was like closed early when I went the one day. It's like, oh, I got whisked away to different. Like 2 days ago, I ended up getting whisked away to go looking for amethysts, and then yesterday I got whisked away to go to a native spiritual ceremony thing. So that was most. So I was like,
So I got whisked away to do stuff like that.
well, I almost never
I
do.
used to.
That's the crazy thing. Like I never go anywhere, and then just lately it's like, hey, come do this, come do that. I actually have something I'm doing now, and everybody wants me to go do something else. I did nothing for years, and nobody bothered me.
Yeah.
Timing, people, timing.
I can't go to bed yet.
I thought in homage to the original Bard's Tale, I would start us with something in the wine cellar. Because it's the first dungeon in Bard's Tale. The first dungeon in the first Bard's Tale.
Wish Drinky was down here.
I am gonna sign off if we're gonna.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're
I
gonna.
think I'm gonna have to lay down.
Yeah, alright. Ed, I'll contact you shortly.
Alrighty.
Alright.
Oh, thanks everybody.
Aye.
Ciao.